he's always driving home at around this time after work, so I don't want to rely on that. That's fine. Not a big deal. Anyway, let's get going. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 749. Godzilla Doesn't Work in America. That's a strange title for the long list of monster movies that the American audience has watched ever since the beginning of, I think, King Kong films. So I don't know why monster movies would not work in America. Is it the premise of Godzilla that it was orchestrated by the H-bomb and mutated into a giant creature? I don't know. We don't know. We're going to see what this.
I think it always needs to be Russians.
The villain has.
That's what they did with Godzilla '85.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's Russians bad.
Russians bad. It's like watching a Indiana Jones film. You always have to have some Nazis in there for some reason. Like, what the hell are the Nazis doing?
That and a lot of product placement.
Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway, this is from Doktor Skipper, and he's got 240,000 subs. So this came out last month, just a few weeks ago. So I don't know if you guys have watched this. I have not. I don't know who this guy is. So maybe he's a film. Does anyone know who he is? A film critic? Is he?
I have no. He's like got Zoomer editing in this video. I don't know who he is.
I don't know either.
Okay, so who do we have in the chat? We have Gaw, who's been on the channel a few times. We have, see, what happens with my streaming is it deletes everyone's names to ... so I can't actually read your name. So
that's that you're in streamer mode.
Exactly.
When Discord restarts, it automatically switches streamer mode back on.
Yeah. So I can't read everyone's name, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You just deactivate streamer mode.
Well, that would deactivate the stream, so I can't do that.
No. That is not what streamer mode is. Streamer mode is supposed to just protect privacy by accidentally opening Discord on your stream.
Okay, well, either way, I can't read it right now. I'm not going to press any buttons I'm unfamiliar with because bad stuff happens. Anyway,
that is a good idea, good general policy.
Yeah.
The other two are on the left, I think, with the red thingy on the icon is Gore.
On the left, yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and next to that is Keyblade Overlord.
Oh.
Yep. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, buddy? Do you know your Godzilla? Because I know God does, so I'm assuming this is why you're here.
Yeah, I know a lot of Godzilla. In fact, I actually own every single theatrically released Godzilla movie on Blu-ray or DVD.
Oh,
I'm only halfway there, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I have a lot of VHS.
The only one I don't have is -1 because obviously it's not out yet.
Oh, interesting. Okay. On DVD, exactly. Okay, fair enough. We got some fans going, and I was told this video may not be very fan friendly. So
it has a surprising ratio considering the feedback it's got. Because
wow.
I've seen like a
saw
dozen different like response videos from fans just absolutely trashing it, and they get like thousands of views. I don't.
Oh dear, I just saw the ratio. It's 10,000 downvotes to 5.8 thousand upvotes. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Oh, okay, then I'm wrong. It got worse. It got worse the last time I saw it.
All right. Okay, let's get started. I hope we're all in the watch together. I think we're all synchronized. Okay, I think we are.
I see Eminem is at the right spot.
He's doing a music video, and that's a thing that we're going to watch. Hopefully we won't get immediately banned, but who knows? We'll find out. Here we go.
Hopefully not.
I can swallow up. Hold up. Feel like Godzilla. Get out the way, Eminem! This is my video! Gojira, also known as Godzilla, is the most popular piece of Japanese media ever created. Let's just pretend anime is not a thing, okay, for like 20 minutes. Godzilla is so popular that a lot of people didn't even know that it originated in Japan.
Okay,
or that
stop.
It's in the public domain in the United
What did he just say?
A lot of people don't believe that Godzilla originated in Japan.
How? Who is that? Who are these people?
Yeah.
The first movie where the majority of people, it's in Japan.
All of the, which Godzilla movies do not feature Japanese people in Japan?
Did they not hear Blue Oyster Cult hit song Godzilla, where he said, "Oh no, there go Tokyo"?
You mentioned, Mike mentioned, like in the original English release of the first movie, like even the English actors were talking about how, oh man, I'm really happy I was in this movie because of what it meant to Japan.
Right.
And
Yeah.
how did anyone not keeping up with them not know it was from Japan?
Yeah, it's kind of like thinking of the 30s King Kong film. It's when he's climbing the Empire State Building. I mean, technically that could have been made by someone outside of America, but the assumption is no, it was actually made by Americans.
Only America makes movies. Only America makes cornflakes. Only America makes Nutella.
Yeah.
It's like as ridiculous as saying, like, man, some foreigners who watched King Kong didn't know that was in New York at the end of the film.
Everything that exists was made in America.
Yeah, well.
Including China. China was made in America.
We better not ask them where they think their CGI studios productions come from, because it's not all America or North America either.
Yeah.
So,
Or
anyway.
Korean.
Or South Korean, you're right? Yeah.
Toho, the company that created Godzilla, never Marvelized one day, so they didn't renew and manipulate the copyright system like a.
How did you get
certain
Marvel?
company.
What is like my brain is like I just saw like 30 pictures on the screen just being cut
It's
together.
over editing. This is over editing.
I agree with that. But like Marvelite, is it just because the Monsterverse is its own?
I think that's just because it's a shared cinematic universe. Which is like 90% of the movies are just Godzilla movies.
Yeah, literally one movie is not a Godzilla movie.
That makes it a cameo.
Yeah.
All right.
One movie is not a Godzilla movie, and that Kong Skull Island. The rest, they're all Godzilla movies.
I'm gonna try and not look at the screen because my eyes are just like, what? the
Welcome to my world.
Well,
No, look, it's the mouse.
This is a rather scary still frame, but I could not watch 5 seconds. My brain went, "What am I watching?"
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this again.
IPs. Walt Disney. Breaking news: Mickey
was
Mouse
loud.
is now public domain. Oh wait, never mind. Just Steamboat Willie. Not even that. The name is still claimed by Disney, so the only legal way to name it is Boat Rat Drives Boat. But this free copyright for Godzilla is only in America. In Japan, our boy is still in shackles. But even in the United States, with freedom, hot dogs, gunslinging, and that one place.
Have you ever been to Ohio, sir?
I live in Ohio.
Japan still tried to sue the red, white, and blue because, well, you miss the shots you don't take Luka Doncic. I'm not Japanese, and I was born in 2002. The same year Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla came out, alongside Mike's new...
There is such a thing as too much effort.
I cannot follow this guy. I cannot look at the screen.
Who is this made for?
Did this
What
guy
is wrong
edit
with
it
this
himself?
generation?
I think he
it's
hired
really-
someone else.
I swear, this editing is just what people think their general audience are. A bunch of toddlers that are like, "Ooh, look at the shiny key!"
Yeah, it's blinking lights. It's literally dangling keys.
Every 2
Dang,
seconds,
keep
my eyes are
making
like,
tons of noise.
"What? What was that? Why?"
And yeah, I say random things and check this random thing. And oh, by the way, joke. Also random
What?
thing.
What does it have to do with the point you're trying to make on Godzilla?
Anyway, I think this
My
is
God.
entertainment for a different group of
Toddlers?
people. That's not us. So
It's gonna. This is gonna
For
be
the 5,000 people that like this video.
okay, let's try again.
Do Godzilla? No, it
Oh,
doesn't,
okay.
but I'm keeping it in the video anyway. So yeah, I didn't really know anything about Godzilla for most of my life other than its influence on American culture. I knew more about Reptar and Shelly from Frankenweenie than the real Godzilla. But then in 2014, when I was 12 playing, I don't know, GTA 5?
Oh, my N-word, huh?
The first Americanized
That
version
come
of
out in
Godzilla
20
came out.
Oh my god!
What the?
You are the most horrible generation to have ever existed.
What was that?
That was a bunch of titles,
Yeah,
I
but
think.
why?
Being loud and causing migraines, because that's funny to these people. Causing migraines is funny.
It's like let's do a title in multiple fonts for no reason.
No, I think what he was trying to do was like go through every single Godzilla movie title and take the Godzilla part from it and flash through them real fast.
Yeah.
Either way, hurt my eye, and
I'm
it
surprised.
looked bad.
I'm surprised he saw the 2014 one first, considering the other mistakes he makes. It's weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first, because 1998 never happened. Jesus Christ. Fast forward to now, 2024. Japan has released a new Godzilla film starring Eminem's hit album Kamikaze.
Zombie brains make bad sushi.
And in the States,
What?
Godzilla's now collaborating with King Kong in what looks to be a brand new Fortnite event, which isn't that much of a stretch since they were in Call of Duty, for some reason.
What?
That was actually
I
pretty
know
fun.
2024 just started, and we haven't had a Skipper video in a while since he was rotting away during the holidays. New year, new me, alright? We're back.
Probably should have kept
Don't all
running.
clap at once. But let's go back to 2014 to examine the playing field and how we got here.
God.
Godzilla is super interesting to me. After the 2014 movie, I grew up and went to school and played video games and doodled in math books that cost a lot of money, but I didn't care because look at this drawing. Homie. But then at age 16,
This
I was
guy's like
activated
20
like the
or
Winter
something.
Soldier to hate the 9-to-5 Matrix. Look, Mom, being a brain surgeon is cool and whatever, but I want to pursue the arts, aka the epilogue to what is eventually going to be homelessness. Or a bullet to my head. So I did a film study course in high school where the teacher was the head football
be a
coach
relief.
that hated his damn life. So instead of teaching anything, he put on crash course videos from YouTube where Lily Gladstone...
Oh, wow.
So this guy went to post-secondary education and took a
Where a
elective
failure
in.
taught him.
He took an elective in film studies, and the film study teacher just showed clips of this YouTuber.
And the teacher didn't teach him. And
So
And you paid money for that?
you pay money for failure to not teach you, but show you someone else to teach you.
I
Sue the
missed it. Did he go to
university.
public school? I don't know how to
can't-
explain it.
I can't imagine
I think
paying
it-
money for this. Yeah, it doesn't seem right.
I would
And,
say,
and then
considering
this
the,
comes out of it?
Yeah, I
Does-
would say, considering the shit education he got for that, he should have probably picked a different thing to do than this.
Does anyone know who this lady and her channel is?
No idea, but
Crash
there's a
Course.
PBS logo in the top left corner.
Oh,
Apparently
wow.
this is tax funded?
Oh boy.
Wait, isn't Crash Course the Vlog Brothers thing? Is that this?
I don't know.
Is this a different thing?
I don't know, but I've never seen a PBS video school program for learning about cinema. I've never heard of that. Okay, 3 minutes in, or 2. I can't see. I'm too far away. 'Cause
I am starting to feel the migraine in the top left eye socket.
yeah, you gotta lean back and not pay attention, or else you're gonna hurt yourself. I gotta
Yeah.
zoom
Only-
away.
We've only been at it for exactly 3 minutes of the video's runtime, and I'm already wanting to take more Motrin.
I just want to just close my eyes and focus on what the hell he's trying to say.
You cannot make me believe that there are people able to process this and learn anything from it, assuming that there is any relevant content in there.
All right.
I mean, I don't know how he enjoyed.
This is not just a generational problem. The generation that likes this is just retarded.
I don't know how he enjoyed -1 if this is the kind of editing he thinks is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have been
Yeah.
bored to death.
Shh.
All right. Let's go.
Moon taught me film history. Thank you, Lily, for sending me down a warpath with Letterboxd. Eventually, I started learning stuff for myself in film history, okay?
Oh,
I was
wow.
hitting the books. Books being video
Good.
essays from other idiot film geeks online. Thus, I went down in a really big Godzilla rabbit hole. And it gave me a big appreciation for the creature, its impact on filmmaking, and made me reevaluate how I look at the Godzilla brand as a whole. Also, there's a big thing I need to address in this video. I kind of hate Godzilla, if we're gonna be honest.
Get the f out, man!
And you made this?
To make this really easy for you to understand, Godzilla has what I like to call the Jurassic Park effect. Jurassic Park is a great movie that has cool dinosaurs and sexy Jeff
Are we
Goldblum,
talking
but the
about
film still has
Jurassic
heavy messaging.
Please pause when you want to say something because I can't understand
All
you
right.
when you...
No, I was just saying, why is he talking about Jurassic Park? This is Godzilla video.
Because they both are. They have big creatures with a message behind it. I guess.
Also, I kind of agree with the guy in the
I-
pit there of get the hell out of
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. See, nobody cared.
How can you like Godzilla and hate him?
I don't. He didn't say I kind of hate. He didn't say I kind of hate the American version. He just says I kind of hate Godzilla in general. I don't know.
Yeah, but how did he fall in love with it but hate it? It makes
That's
no
what I'm saying.
sense to me. But I'm also getting a headache, and it will be harder to follow.
Maybe it's an academic thing, like you're studying whatever topic, like the war. Like I hate the war, but I studied it. I was like, okay, fair enough.
I was like, oh, Shakespeare,
That's not falling in
right?
love
So
with
great.
I hate
It's
this
a hipster
stanzas.
take.
Stanzas are
Oh,
so
Shakespeare. Yeah, I appreciate him, but I hate him now.
Yeah.
It's just so old.
Maybe it's a personal preference. Like, oh, I've studied Lao Tzu for so long, I hate his words. It's like, okay, fair. But I really like the guys. Okay, fine.
How? He probably didn't even exist.
Anyway, we're at 44 seconds after 3 minutes, so that's... we just jumped so many topics in that short time. Anyway.
Something Jurassic Park.
It's a critique on corporations and Walt God on the grounds of greed. They also like to suspend my Twitter account for impersonating Harrison Ford, which I didn't do. Totally.
Answer me, you black son of a bitch!
What does that have to do with Jurassic Park?
He's just randomly funny. Laugh now. And the laugh track.
All right.
Ha ha ha.
Are awesome, this is very true, but they aren't just there for the sake of existing. The dinosaurs have a bigger purpose to the overall film, thus making Jurassic Park still iconic to this day. It also kind of revolutionized CGI and changed the landscape of film,
Oh my
yada yada,
God.
but Jurassic Park,
Somebody
yeah, the IP
kill
is
this guy.
now just CGI wars with Chris Pratt. I don't know what the hell a carbine rifle's gonna do to dinosaurs. I mean, Mark Wahlberg used a gun to fight
Why are we
aliens.
Transformers right now? What?
And while still
Where's
making a lot of
Godzilla?
money, because they sure as hell did that, they have like no cultural impact at all. This is what happened with Godzilla. I don't have any
Oh, there it
nostalgia
is.
for the old.
Is this a video made by ADHD for ADHD?
This
No.
is not for me, Wisp. Don't you dare. Don't you dare with the.
It's
his
the
idiot.
only question I can ask at this point.
I want to stop
Because
watching
Oh,
this.
there's Godzilla.
how does this work? How do you... This is so overloaded.
Yeah, I really actually just don't want to watch this. Like, this is one of those videos you're like, nah, too much. Don't want to even bother.
Yep.
Getting to the point eventually. At least the halfway mark, he must get to something.
Imagine a hyperactive neighbor coming by for like, hi, can I borrow some eggs or what? Borrow, I don't know, like, give me some butter. It's like, sure. And they just keep talking really, really quickly for like 5 minutes. You're like, are we?
About 15 topics.
And they just keep going for another 30 minutes. It's like, can you go, please? leave me alone.
I think this is the difference between between autism and just random bullshit. He does have these little tangent jokes, but an autistic tangent would elaborate. He just makes random bullshit jokes.
Maybe it's like
Is that why he's called Skipper?
maybe it's the Robin Williams style of talking. He just keeps jumping to joke to see if something lands.
Nah,
He's
he
no
did
idea.
it
That feel,
better though.
I don't know. That feels insulting to Robin Williams.
Yeah, I know. All right.
Oh God. Yeah, I still watched them a bit when I was a kid.
The fuck?
And even rewatched them recently when I got the idea for this video. So no bias. 98% of them suck ass. Godzilla
What?
fell into the same trap that all successful franchises eventually fall into. Godzilla's look was more fascinating to shareholders and executives than the original intentions and creativity that made him even exist in the first place. So they spammed out Godzilla films. He's fighting bugs. He's fighting mechanized versions of himself. He's fighting three-headed dragons. He's doing shit like this. Because why the hell not? And some of the films are fun, I'll admit it, but for the most part, a lot of the legacy of Godzilla just reeks of cheaply made cash grabs. So when Godzilla turned into a cartoon for kids, a lot of adults stopped caring.
What is this shit?
So then the cycle reset, and this time Goji went to America.
Okay, that's not.
He just skipped over pretty much the entire Heisei and Millennium period right there.
He just skipped an entire era where Godzilla was not for kids. Was like significantly more mature, and then he skipped over the whole early 2000s era, and he skipped he skipped the actual first time it came to America.
And even the cartoon based on the Roland Emmerich movie that we don't talk about was relatively serious and dark.
Yeah, it was
And-
significantly
and
better.
That ran in
actually,
parallel with
that
the Man in Black
cartoon-
cartoon.
Oh, yeah.
That Godzilla cartoon, it may have been more or less a sequel to the '98 movie, which again doesn't have anything in common with Godzilla. But it actually felt more like Godzilla because the monster did things that Godzilla tended to do more. Like actually breathe atomic breath.
Actually fight other monsters.
That cartoon Godzilla was like disconnected from the actual movie the cartoon was based on.
Yeah.
Which was good.
It was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
it
if
had
we
that
can say
unique
the same,
animation.
Yeah. I don't know if we can say the same thing about the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla cartoon.
Oh, don't
I never saw that one. Is that really that bad?
Hey, it's the one that gave us the stock roaring sound effect.
Did it?
Yeah.
Stock.
Also, Godduki. We do not speak about Godduki.
Who the hell is Godduki?
All Hanna-Barbera monsters had tiny versions of them. It's like Scrappy-Doo, but Godzilla.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, so he says yeah.
It's like Minya, except not a good, and also had wings for some reason.
It looks so stupid.
And he calls 98% of them shit, and he glosses over half the franchise, and the only era that he talks about is the Showa era, or like even to this day, like 7 of those movies are still considered good by most people.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Godzilla would not be here 70 fucking years later, or if you know, a lot of his movies were shit. Which they're not.
He also mentioned cheap cash grab movies. There's other reasons for those earlier movies. Is because Toho was straight up going bankrupt at the time.
I'm pretty sure.
And that's a whole other thing. But those are details he's not get into.
And also, money from back then was not as much as money from now because inflation.
All right. Well,
anyway,
he skipped over history. We get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, we got a serious Godzilla, and people complained that it was too serious with not enough Godzilla, so the franchise became Looney Tunes. And the sequel somehow had worse human characters, and then people got annoyed with Millie.
No, people don't. They only complain that there's not enough Godzilla in the Godzilla movie. The rest is secondary.
Yeah. Also, the human characters in King of the Monsters were actually decent, and I gave a shit about them a little bit. And the fact it was actually a lot better of a it's actually like a lot better of a ratio of human to monsters.
Which is an achievement for a United States movie, because they always do this the worst.
Yeah. Pretty much, if you ask anybody what their favorite Monsterverse Godzilla movie is, I can guarantee you nobody is going to fucking say 2014 unless they're fucking stupid.
Oh well, I should keep my mouth shut.
Anyway,
it's
not that 2014 is a bad movie. It's just definitely not the best one of the Monsterverse one.
Well, just to say about he's talking about people, there was backlash because it's too serious and not enough Godzilla. Like Toho liked the movie. Toho liked 2014 so much, and they thought it did so much justice to Godzilla. And the people who, the actors who played the suit, who got in the suit, saw the movie and were super overjoyed by it. But Toho liked it so much that it's what inspired them and pushed them to be making the current era of Japanese Godzilla movies, including -1.
To make Shin Godzilla, which later on became -1, and they love the 2014 movie so much they actually put the 2014 Godzilla movie in the PS4 and PS3 game.
Yeah, I think, and it's the current. So it's you have Showa era, Heisei era, Millennium era, and the current Japanese. The current Towa era of movies is called Wait. I can't say it. It's I
think it's pronounced Reiwa era.
Reiwa.
Yeah. Yeah, but the American movies caused that era to happen. Does he
Yeah.
Though I'd argue go on.
Yeah, the Monsterverse movie, the first one at the very least, made the Reiwa era able to happen, more or less.
But I was just gonna say the Millennium era is a bit of a mixed bag.
Bit of a clusterfuck.
Because it's just the worst one I've seen from the Millennium was Megaguirus, where it's just I don't know, it's a bit boring, and then you have You have the fight with Megaguirus versus Godzilla, and then it looks like an old lady whacking a dog with her purse.
And then a black hole gun. There's a black
That
hole gun.
does fuck all to the monster, because, okay.
That just proved how bad Aunt Godzilla is. He tanked a fucking black hole getting shot at him.
It's a weird era too, because every movie in that series is a reboot.
Yeah, except for Tokyo Ento Ent, which actually is a sequel to Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. So that was the one time.
Which is a sequel to the original Godzilla, because this Millennium kind of like a bit of, hey, remember the 54 one? This is the sequel now. No, wait, this is the sequel.
All right.
So everything is a reboot. Yeah.
Let's keep.
I just like this guy doesn't know anything about Godzilla. That's so clear, and he started the video being like he went down a rabbit hole and he did his research, and it's like no.
No. You're spreading misinformation, jackass.
All right.
Deadpool and Alfred from Atlanta spilling water.
Oh, he was in
Fried
Deadpool.
Mechagodzilla's motherboard to save the day, and this made some people not really like Godzilla that much anymore. And now Japan has gone back to reset that cycle.
Okay, stop. A lot of people it was significantly more well received than
Godzilla vs. Kong was awesome, especially that part.
I don't know what an insecure huff out of his voice, which indicates to me that he's pulling this out of his sleeves. All worse.
I would say more out of his ass, and it's taking a lot of training to get it out.
I don't think he's seen a single Godzilla movie, and he just saw -1. Actually, I might have to doubt that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just saying random things and sees how he can get away with it to make this video. Because what people who don't have much to say do is that they just make random claims to dismiss them. So everything he says, half of what he says is a straw man, and the other half is jokes about them.
And given the amount of video responses that have been made on this, including this one we're doing right now, yeah.
Okay.
Fresh air again. So yeah, Godzilla is in a constant battle of balance between being really serious and being really stupid, but the good is really good, so let's talk about that good. It's 1925. Some dude named Harry Hoyt made a stop-motion dinosaur movie called The Lost World, not the one with sexy Jeff Goldblum and people getting smoked in tall grass, but rather stop-motion clay, which leads us to 1933, where Harry inspired a guy named Willis O'Brien to make a stop-motion movie titled King Kong that had a giant monkey going apeshit. This then inspired a Japanese special effects director named Eiji Tsuburaya, who ended up being the co-creator of Godzilla, which means America was 2001's Jay-Z the blueprint to Japan.
No, wait, I thought the beast without 20,000 fathoms was the inspiration.
I was going to say that. Is he going to get to that? I don't think he's going to get to that.
I think he just skipped it as we paused.
It was specifically the beast of 20,000 fathoms that inspired I think Ishiro Honda's what he wanted, like the premise for the movie.
Probably.
Like King Kong had some amount of influence, but it was mainly Beast from 20,000 fathoms.
Mainly because they were both dinosaurs that, lived in the ocean.
Yeah. He's not going to talk about that at all, is he?
No, I guess that movie just doesn't exist now.
I think if he actually did the research, even the Wikipedia would show that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super movies until he met this guy named Ishiro Honda, and they both said, yo, what's up, you like movies, I like movies. But then the world started going beast mode, and then boom, Imperial Japan started going beast mode, and then ring ring, yeah, Honda, congratulations, you just been drafted to the Imperial Japanese Army. Pack your stuff, we go at midnight. And during this war, a massive toll was taken on young Honda. Then Honda came home, instantly went back to the grind and started making some movies. World War II was still going beast mode, so filmmakers had to stop making movies, and instead were cranking out good old-fashioned propaganda. In the States, even Walt and Boat Rat Drives Boat were doing this as well. A Japan studio formed for this propaganda named Toho Studios that was showing all the cool tanks and guns. Look, they even put Call of Duty's World at War menu theme on the screen. The Mustache Man was going crazy in World War II as well, affecting the Lego Man that you can learn about in this video after you finish this one. Harrison Ford was still fighting Nazis, but this time
there's a lot of deadweight information.
And Japan attacked Hawaii. Not just Hawaii, but Pearl Harbor. Japan was hyped. They threw a little party even, thinking that they just did something crazy. Then Toho Studios made a fake propaganda film about the bombing that looked so real it even convinced the USA that it was real footage. America wasn't having it. Chester, call in the big guns. Ring ring, yeah, hello Robert J. Oppenheimer. You're needed immediately. He then smoked his little pipe, put on his little hat, and played a game of telephone with his communist friends. Allegedly. Allegedly. He got tasked to make a big bomb codenamed Operation Manhattan. He then went to Los Alamos, New Mexico to cook. But somehow the guy who cooks in New Mexico got called Heisenberg instead of Oppenheimer. Heisenberg was a Nazi.
Smut, are there captions for this video?
No.
What the?
There's
what
no
the fuck
code.
does this have to do with anything?
The guy just wants to make an Oppenheimer Godzilla joke.
Oh god.
I don't know how that connects because I thought the lore in Godzilla was because of the H bomb, not the atomic bomb. So those are two different things. Like I don't know if you guys are familiar with hydrogen bombs or helium bombs. It's a combination of fusion and fission, whereas the originals, like Nagasaki bombs, were standard fission bombs. So
Yeah,
I think it's just because they're both nuclear weapons. So
yeah, maybe.
I'm pretty sure the lore is it's specifically the bomb that was dropped that causes Godzilla, and then later movies changed that to atomic testing that they did in the Pacific.
Okay.
yeah.
Germany, by the way. What the fuck, AMC? And in between me, he finished the bomb, took it to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and turned that bitch into Fallout 3, with the only sole survivor being Wolverine. Japan took the L and surrendered. Truman kicked up his feet and ate sushi off his stomach like me after editing 30 seconds of this video, and Japan was now under new management. In 1946, Honda came back to Japan to see that Hiroshima was decimated, and then went back to making movies. America had control over Japan, and said no more propaganda, no more emperor, and worst of all, women can now vote. Alright.
I mean, at least he admits that the propaganda had to be made, not that anyone wanted to.
Yep.
Like the Walt Disney stuff.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that about Toho. I'm assuming he's half right.
Well, when you're in a war and you have a big media empire, or even a small media empire, that's what you order them to do, because it's relevant to your cause, whether it's a good or bad one. But that is basically all that can be said about that. I found something positive to say about this video.
He got some world records accurate as the years went by. Okay.
I'm with Neth Champion in the chat. You're taking it too far. Get back to the point, please.
Get back to Zilla. Is Zilla the new management? What is the point of this? You could have jumped straight from they bombed Pearl Harbor to Tokyo being blown up.
What kind of joke needs this much fucking setup? Jesus.
I don't know why you would talk about Oppenheimer except to make a Godzilla joke.
I think it was to make a big Breaking Bad joke. Because Heisenberg.
And the whole video turns out to be set up for the last 2 minutes of insanity.
A broken retrospective.
I stopped looking at the screen a while ago, so I don't know. I'm just hard. There's nothing for me to say. He just rambles on. I'm like, I don't care. That's fine.
Oh, Genga, you missed, unless you were one. But he tried to talk about the history of Godzilla, and then he completely skipped over the Heisei and Millennium films.
And he skipped the Beast of 1,000 Fathoms, the thing that inspired the big old lizard.
I mean, I said
that Ishiro Honda said inspired it.
Yeah.
I said earlier that in that same similar vein, it's like there's people that still think Power Rangers is purely an American thing when that has relied on Super Sentai since day one.
Yep.
And then apparently not anymore, considering what Hasbro might be doing.
All right, we're gonna keep going for another few more minutes, but honestly, I'm getting not much out of this video.
Me neither.
The history lesson is
At
probably
least,
half right.
I mean, I will agree with Whisp. It's like if we cut it off early, at least the last 2 minutes of insanity.
Yep.
The last 2 minutes of
That in the script was it you? Don't fucking lie to me. 1953, no more strict laws about propaganda. Happy, happy Japan. 1954, America started trolling and the fuck does that mean? America started trolling and did a nuclear test on their hydrogen bomb in the Pacific. The bomb was much bigger than the scientists expected, so the radiation caught up to a Japanese boat named the Lucky Dragon No. 5, which killed all the crew via radiation, and the fish market was completely fucked. it. Poor Japan, we know you love ethical fishing. We know you love ethical fishing. Yeah, Japan was pissed, and rightfully so. And this controversy pushed Toho producer Tomoyaki Tanaka to want to make a political film related to nuclear war. Like King Kong, America was once again the blueprint, with the beast from 20,000 Fathoms.
There it
Bombs
is.
were attacking New York after nuclear testing. Tanaka wanted to do the same thing, so Godzilla was made. There's a good video by Big Action Bill about the history of 1954 Godzilla in the description. Check that out.
Can
But
we
the
watch
original
that instead?
Godzilla is not like the beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Honda didn't want to make the film to get cheers and applause. It wasn't a film that was made to be a good laugh or to be an entertaining blockbuster. Quite the opposite, actually. Gojira was made with the intention of invoking fear and anxiety while also raising awareness about the looming threat of nuclear war that is still present in today's discussion. Hell, one of the most popular films in 2022 was Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, with the exact same intentions and messaging as 1954's
That was-
Gojira. Even the main scientist character in Gojira was based off of
Oppenheimer
Robert J.
was
Oppenheimer,
2023,
who was
you
regretful
dumbass.
of the atomic bomb's creation and spent his life blackballing the hydrogen bomb, which the testing of that hydrogen bomb affected Japan and got Gojira made in the first place. Godzilla is used throughout the film in strategic ways, representing chaos to human characters rather than being used as a sole spectacle, which benefits the film since that level of restraint makes Godzilla a spectacle anyway by default. His destruction of Japan is to represent the atomic bomb used on both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it's sad and scary, and this is elevated by the human characters that are portrayed to be survivors of a tragedy. The ending of the film even has this Oppenheimer-like character sacrifice himself to kill Godzilla with his own made atomic creation, and the reason he sacrifices himself is for the sake of humanity, making sure that the knowledge to the chaotic power that kills Godzilla dies with him. Even Godzilla's death in the film is not celebrated and cheered. His death is instead seen as a death that never needed to happen. The film instead uses its conclusion to say this, rather than celebrating.
水爆実験がゴジラの盗塁がまた
Gojira was still made on thin ice due to the hot tensions with the US, so the US is never blamed for Godzilla's creation in the film, but even without the politics of Japan and the US, Gojira is still objectively a war film that provoked a lot of discussion and thought. For 1954, the film is serious and gritty. The human characters serve a purpose, Godzilla serves a purpose. It pushes so many standards in the special effects world as well. It's a masterpiece in world cinema, and is not talked about enough due to it getting censored by the United States, which we'll talk about later. 1954 Gojira is also why I don't like it when Godzilla is an action prop. It just feels like Boat Rat drives boat to me, since I see the character more as a man versus nature, rather than fighting toys for children. This is why Godzilla 2014
Not see the
is the best
other
version of
movies
Godzilla in
Honda
the States. But he
No, it's not.
But he was an action prop as soon as the third movie in the franchise.
No, not even that. The second
Not
movie,
even, yeah.
the Godzilla Rage Again was the first one to have him fight another monster, which was Anguirus.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, yeah.
And Gears just killed halfway through the film.
Yeah. It's like the main big thing with Godzilla fighting other monsters. It's like it's meant to be both exciting action, but also, threatening, because these are giant monsters duking it out, and their little territorial disputes or whatever put a lot of people at risk.
And even in the more kid-friendly movies, they still have the monster he fights be like a representation for like nukes and stuff and other stuff.
Yeah, like a good example, Godzilla versus Hedorah. Hedorah is literally a monster made from pollution.
Which would again be a, if not a force of nature, then a consequence of it.
Yeah,
and you can see it as a being caught between two forces of nature. It's the simplest way to put it.
Yeah, and what's that movie?
Yeah,
the other one goes into the a Shinto inspired animistic way, where similar to Pokemon, all these natural phenomena are represented by spirits or gods. And we are caught between them fighting. Like, what can we do? We're just humans. Yeah. We are at the mercy of them. And the strange thing is that even though the Japanese believed that their emperor is a manifest god on this earth, the Americans are the ones that in their media who seem to see themselves above nature. And you could, is not entirely correct, but you could interpret that as to why they don't build proper housing against hurricanes, don't build proper flood walls against flooding, which is all technology that is already available, but they just don't do it. They rather live in the destruction and the rubble. You could say there's more hubris on the American side than on the Japanese. The Japanese got all their anti-flood protection technology from the Dutch, and it works pretty well because the Dutch kind of know how to deal with flooding.
Yep. And the whole thing, it does relate to like another lyric from Blue Oyster Cult Godzilla, specifically the line at the end of "History showed again and again how nature points out the folly of man," which is pretty much, the kaiju in these movies. They're the nature that's proving the folly of man, because they probably would not exist if it wasn't for the human testing of atomic weapons and stuff like that.
Yep, it's a story about hubris, and that is something off the top of my head, is not really something I can associate with American cinema.
Yep.
What are the stories of hubris in American cinema?
Oh, I can't say off the top of my head either.
I guess like older movies from like the 50s, 60s, like some westerns are like that.
Yeah, I think that might be the closest. But I think that there's an inherent black spot in American culture. And that is maybe also what leads to its downfall.
Okay.
Godzilla doesn't really work in the United States. 2014 Godzilla is the most
doesn't work
grounded
in
of
the
the
United
Monsterverse
States?
films, having the most restraint while using Godzilla on frame in unique ways. It's still one of the best looking Godzilla films due to the directing by Gareth Edwards that relies a ton on perspective shots. This sentiment was even kept 9 years later in a spin-off show called Monarch that treated 2014 Godzilla the same way, even with it being abandoned in later films to a different visual style. Before even getting the reveal of Godzilla in
That's also
2014,
just
you
new
could feel his
directors.
scale. While being smaller than both his King of the
can't
Monsters
hear
and
you when
Godzilla
it's
vs.
running.
Kong variations, he feels the most massive in this movie. Even for the antagonist Mutos, perspective shots are still filmed from the human perspective, making the creatures scale massively. It makes the monsters feel like real threats in the human world. And seeing the monsters from the eyes of kids on a bus, Marines on a halo jump, or a shot from the evacuation center makes this obvious fiction feel grounded. 2014 Godzilla is really good on this front, with a lot of homages to the filming of 1954's Gojira, before the direction became really stylized. Since average moviegoers didn't like barely seeing the monsters, with human characters taking most of the screen time, and when they did see the monsters, it was really dark. But even with the more stylish change later, the human characters ended up being worse somehow,
It's in
even
Hong
more
Kong.
importance than shitty plot lines. But 2014's human problem has a lot to do with
An unnecessary over-exposition
Yeah.
that
Well,
made no
also-
sense to be in the places where it was.
Yeah. Also, here's the thing with Godzilla movies. The humans have to be there all the time. It's like there needs to, there's a definitely argument of like proper balancing between the monsters and the human, but it's like no matter what, the human characters are still going to have to be in the movie because they're more or less how the plot's gonna, move.
Yeah, how are we
Kind of,
affected by it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Toho kept using a reporter character because they liked how Raymond Burr was in the King of the Monsters cut, and they thought that was useful to have like a human character grounded.
Yeah, have a journalist or just Joe Everyman, and just they have to have some kind of human character to be like the person that the human audience can put themselves into, because like we're not going to relate too much to the giant monsters that fight each other.
structured, and how it being in the US hinders its storytelling. American Godzilla as a whole is an oxymoron thing to begin with. A thing made to represent America's atomic bomb in Japan is now being used for American heroism. So because of this, you can't really get that much depth with
That's
Godzilla.
not how he's used in the story.
Wait, did anyone hear a disconnect sound?
That's in the movie. He uses that for comedic value.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
Oh, I thought that was in the call.
I thought it
wasn't
was
funny. It made me think. It made me think my internet went out.
Yeah, and Gore, could you please pause the video before you say something, because I can't understand anyone. There's just too much going on.
The US doesn't have the same history of atomic bomb, and America is also obsessed with patriotism. So instead of making Godzilla an allegory for the consequences of mankind's actions, or have a much larger depth of Godzilla being a force of nature against the United States, he's now instead Superman, where he gets recontextualized to be Superman, which is hilarious.
No. In the Monsterverse, he's literally a force of nature in the Monsterverse. Pretty much all the Titans, as they call them, are just forces of nature, and Godzilla is the alpha, head of the pack, keeping everything in check to keep things balanced.
And he says American movies would never bring up the nuke stuff with Godzilla's character, but even in '98, they made it clear he was made from nukes.
Yeah. That's one thing you got to give the '98 movie, even though it's like.
Even though he was a weird iguana thing, that wasn't a dinosaur.
Yeah.
But
even though it was so much not like Godzilla that Toho just made a completely separate monster and had the real Godzilla kick its ass in 2004.
They had one of the suit actors apparently when they saw '98 just walked out of the theater. Just
whoa.
That gotta be the greatest. Sort of shame if your thing was so bad that the original suit actor just got up and left.
Yeah, but even then, it's like American movies, especially now, don't shy away from, hey, America did bad stuff in the past, or I don't think the nuke bombings are bad, but it's like
Look, we're not saying, and in that case, it's like. We're not saying we don't like having to be reminded of the bad shit America did do, but some people do take it overboard. But that's not really the point here. The point is more the fact that Godzilla is the result of nuclear testing in most things. In the Monsterverse, it's more a force of nature amplified by the nuclear testing.
And other human shenanigans.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, that's kind of like the explanation of why Godzilla is bigger in King of the Monsters 2019. Because more atomic weapons, he fed off the radiation and grew bigger.
Also, just calling him he's now Superman just tells me, okay, you only saw -1. You don't. I don't think you saw any of these movies. He was more Superman in the Showa era.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Also with that Superman parallel, yeah, sure, Godzilla and Superman. He definitely did a lot less collateral damage than Superman did in Man of Steel.
That was a massive meme when the movie came out.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Which is hilarious. Watch 2014's Godzilla with this perspective after watching Japanese Godzilla films. First off, that hydrogen bomb test that destroyed
the
Lucky
one?
Dragon 5, which got the 1954 movie made in the first place. Well, now the history has changed, and the hydrogen bomb was used to attack Godzilla on that test drop to protect the greater mankind, and it accidentally made him bigger. And after being threatened by this walking nuke and realizing there's nothing the US could do about it, it's now going to be the savior to America against the Japanese threat that was forced out of hiding by humanity that then attacked.
But it's not a Japanese threat. The kaiju are literally forces of nature, like I said earlier. They don't have allegiance to any fucking country.
I'm not sure what he means by that.
Because the bug thing came from Japan, the Japanese location. So
Yeah,
it's graphically representative.
And yet Godzilla didn't come from American soil because Godzilla was in the ocean.
Yeah,
Probably.
but Godzilla then fights the Japan originating threat from on American soil, thereby saving America. I think that's the logic.
I'm getting that.
I'm getting muscle pains from this.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you think?
Okay.
Mike, oh,
I'm just
speechless.
I'm more embarrassed that I know most of the music in the fucking video right now.
Oh.
That's how I feel. It's like, oh, there's Cuphead music. Oh boy.
Oh God, I understand his jokes.
Oh, there's this thing. It's
Surprised you guys are watching the videos.
The German word is Fremdschämen.
Yeah, like Joe Crazy said in the chat, the nuke didn't work though. The film was showing why it was a bad idea in the first place.
You feel ashamed on behalf of the person who should.
Just because it's a bug, is that why it's Japanese? I don't know.
Oh.
Is that why he's saying it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't get this guy. I don't.
I do wish they made the 2014 one a little brighter in the fight scenes, because holy shit,
the lighting.
Yeah, a little bit brighter with the lighting. Like, you can still have it dark, just have us be able to see a little bit more. Thank you.
Although that kind of did help the moment in the final fight where he pulls out the atomic breath.
No, the atmosphere
where that's
shit
mainly
like that.
where that's mainly what you see because of the low lighting.
Yeah.
It's a homage to black and white movies.
No, if it was a homage to black and white, it'd be shot in black and white for
like they did with -1.
Killed by a walking nuke that goes down, and then he decides he's got one more in him, so he gets up and everyone claps for him as fighter jets fly by, saving the day as he goes back into the water. Take in mind, like, thousands of people have probably died to Godzilla, and by the looks of it, evacuation seems to be terrible. It's funny when watching it because at first
and a lot more could have died if he hadn't acted.
Yeah, and also, I'm pretty sure nobody was clapping.
That's just for the lesser evil. Yay!
Yeah, they didn't cheer. Yeah. They like was said. They all they did was acknowledge that it was basically the lesser of two evils. Like, hey, this thing saved us. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much. They were like, Godzilla saved us, but we still have a lot of shit broken now.
Yeah, so we'll just leave him alone and then just clean up our own crap.
It's more like staring up in awe at this creature. You don't know how it's gonna be with humanity now.
Also, assuming that Godzilla willingly fought these monsters to save the people, it just fought them because they made him mad.
Yeah, they were threatening the balance of the earth, and Godzilla's role in the Monsterverse can pretty much keep the balance of the earth in check.
I mean, other movies kind of show that, but it's just like he prioritizes that.
I mean, that's the reason why. That's the reason why Godzilla is called the King of the Monsters.
Yep.
That's the entire point of that title.
And just like in pretty much every other movie, Godzilla does not give a shit about humanity. Godzilla does not care what happened to them. He just knows we live on the same planet. You don't like me. I don't like you. You leave me alone, and I guess I'll leave you alone. Unless something else is going on around here that I gotta take care of.
Yeah, Godzilla fights all these other things because they threaten him too.
Yep.
Did he bring up the original Kong versus Godzilla? I can't remember because he was complaining about
the old one.
Yeah, because he was complaining about how the remake has all this stylized look to it, and it's like that's bad compared to it was like the original director made the original Godzilla vs Kong where they did more of that stylized, different tone.
As far as I'm aware, the remake is still pretty much on point with the intention of the original.
At least the
Joe Crazy-
the American cut of that movie is a little different from the Japanese version.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's inevitable. That's inevitable.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I think it's mainly a lot of the more satire of the media thing kind of got a bit lost in translation and whatnot for the
Yeah,
American version.
the Japanese version is filled with like Japanese parody and stuff.
Yeah. Also, Joe Crazy brings up a good point in the chat that everyone was desperate to have Godzilla beat the Mutos before they reproduced because the Mutos were basically an invasive species, more or less. And yeah, that checked out a lot, really.
Aren't the Mutos a relatively new creation compared to all the other monsters, or?
Well, yeah, they were made specifically for the movie, I think.
Specifically for 2014?
Yeah, Ishiro Honda made Kong vs. Godzilla. He made the very grounded, depressing original one, and then he made the very goofy satire movie. So it's like that satire, that style change was like fine with the original guy.
Yeah, and like Tyler Breton says here, in Godzilla Raids Again, Godzilla only fought Anguirus because territory.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to it.
Even the main focus of this Godzilla movie, it's this Japanese threat that Walter White was warning everyone about, and then Godzilla only comes on screen to handle business. And when he's attacked by the US military, at first he doesn't even retaliate or go beast mode. This dude is only hyper-focused on destroying this Japanese threat, and shares this sparkle with the main character where they save each other. It's quite beautiful actually how much Godzilla cares about the whole world. No, he just cares about the US because when he goes to China, even that shit gets absolutely decimated in his ego fight with the gorilla. Making Godzilla Superman.
That's because
How is he Superman then?
Uh-oh.
That's because in Godzilla vs. Kong, King Kong is seen as a rival alpha to Godzilla.
Yeah,
That's
definitively.
And so they're pretty much having a big cockfight in China.
From the ancient Kong civilization that had giant stone axes and built giant temples under the earth.
Giant scale axes and that they've ripped apart from the monsters they kill.
I mean, at least it makes that version unique. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
But how is he Superman then? If you're saying he only cares about America,
you guys mind if I rewind it by a couple seconds so we can hear the full sentence?
Yeah, also like Joe Crazy just pointed out, Godzilla leveled a part of Florida in that film. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Which part?
I mean, some of it was already the Mutos, but
it was either Florida or Hawaii. I think it was more Hawaii.
He wrecks parts of America.
It's like I want to hear about it's like making Godzilla Superman. Wait a minute, we got to hear that whole thing in context. So.
Whole world. No, he just cares about the US because when he goes to China, even that shit gets absolutely decimated.
He just cares about himself.
Go fight with the gorilla. Making Godzilla Superman is strange. And later in the Monsterverse, they try to add depth to this. Like, look, he actually killed a bus full of children, and this company called Monarch is really shady with documentation and control, and the whole world is still full of PTSD, which is cool at first, but then you remember this is the same guy in the same world where he teamed up with a monkey to fight a robot version of him that was made by a three-headed dragon that got defeated because water was spilt on the computer, and then Godzilla and the monkey are teaming up to fight more monkeys, and now there's a baby monkey, and now he's pinking in Fortnite. Yeah, it's over. American God.
A lot of unpack there, but
it's not American.
He didn't intentionally do that. What is he?
Where did he get that from?
If there's any of that in there, it's most likely sheer goddamn coincidence.
And also, Godzilla teamed up with King Kong because Mechagodzilla was also a threat to alpha status, mainly because it would be possessed by the spirit of King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Who also threatened the alpha status of the monsters in King of the Monsters.
Also, Kong got handicapped in that friggin' movie. That's why he had the bionic arm in that one shot.
Yeah.
Also, they worked together because Godzilla already beat Kong before the fight, and like
that was already settled.
So that their beef was already squashed before Mechagodzilla showed up.
And also Kong had to be convinced to help Godzilla by the little mute telepath girl or whatever that could communicate with him.
Oh yeah,
the sign language girl or something.
Yeah, the sign language girl. She was mute.
Okay. Yeah.
And he had to be brought back to life by the human characters.
Yeah, I was like, thank you for saying that detail. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, Kong had to be both revived and convinced to help out Godzilla because they knew Mechagodzilla was a much bigger threat.
Mechagodzilla possessed by King Ghidorah, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, because his remains, specifically the one head that the one guy managed to recover at the end in the post-credit scene of King of the Monsters, was used and debated for that.
Yeah, that's the one shot we saw in there, right? Where the head was just there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if they went the whole Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2 route where the Mecha King Ghidorah part were used, but I don't know if like the bones of his neck were used for just the control center that the human villain was using, or if it was used in the like actual construction of the Mechagodzilla robot, kind of like Kiryu in Godzilla Against Mechagodzilla.
They might have built the bone into Mechagodzilla in that case.
They could have done both.
I actually don't remember if they did or not.
Either or both. It's like in any way it worked.
Yeah, in either way, anyway, it worked, and it was also paying homage to two different versions of Mechagodzilla that came before.
Yep.
Technically three, if King Ghidorah is still, originating from space in the Monsterverse, which they imply.
I think it is.
Yeah, they imply it, but we're not like concrete on it.
All right.
Yeah.
Stand for anything. Even in the 2014 film, the human characters are just a guy we follow around and his family. The United States military is skeptical at first of Godzilla's involvement, but then they just accept that he is the only hero capable of stopping the Mutos, and all is fine. There's no discussion or nuance about anything in the world. The Mutos that were awakened are instantly vilified without any nuance either. These things were forced to wake up, and all they wanted to do was produce and have kids, but their children were blown up by Quicksilver, then the parents were murdered by Godzilla, and everyone still claps in the end, even though everything.
The Muto reproduction would have destroyed the Earth. First off,
Are you cheering for the end of humanity?
She's humanizing the villain.
No.
Also, Godzilla wakes up because the Mutos wake up, and that's like the Mutos waking up is not intentional.
Yeah.
Why is it okay if
the Mutos
horrible
wake up
world-destroying beasts want to reproduce and in the process destroy the planet, but it's not okay if we humans do that?
And also remind me, which one woke up first, Godzilla or the Mutos?
The Mutos woke up first, technically.
Okay. So yeah, just like Godzilla woke up in response to the Muto attack.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have tried to hug the Mutos.
I mean, he did for certain moves performed.
I mean, the humans. Have you tried hugging them?
I think if I remember right,
misunderstood.
Wait for the Muto offspring to come out and then hug them.
Yeah, well, if they're just misunderstood, you just need to hug them. That's what we learned from Steven Universe, right?
Oh, fuck that.
I think that if I remember right, there's a part in 2014 where Godzilla is implied to be trying to communicate with the Mutos, and the Mutos are like, no, and then that's why he deals with them.
Yeah, because the Mutos were much more single-minded.
Yep.
Like there's implications that he's just trying to deal with them, and
Godzilla does have some very basic cognitive thought Very
Yeah.
basic, and the Mutos are entirely single-minded animals.
Yeah. And Godzilla pretty much
they're
gonna wreck shit. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And Godzilla pretty much being like, if they do their thing, they're gonna ruin the Earth, and I fucking live here, so I gotta stop that shit.
Yeah,
Get off my turf.
Basically, the thing that came up during the Dragon Ball video too. It's like, hey, I love this is my planet. I live here.
I fucking live here.
Basically, that same rule, on at least at face value.
Yeah.
A shitload of people died! This is drastically different from the 1954 version, where Godzilla is treated as a victim, even after he terrorizes and kills a bunch of innocent Japanese people. And instead of clapping when the threat is gone, the audience is instead reminded that Godzilla never needed to happen in the first place. And that because
he's still a life form. It's a bit in contrast with Japan's whale fishing, but
yeah,
you know,
and
you get the message.
Yeah.
I think they weren't really feeling that sorry for Godzilla because
a little bit.
It was more the fact that Dr. Serizawa purposely left himself under the sea when he was activating the oxygen destroyer, knowing full well he'd be killing himself doing it.
It's more like they're sad for what Godzilla was before the atomic bombs and stuff.
Yeah.
And like they see him as it's framed as like he was a bad thing and had to be dealt with, and it's like, but it's a shame we had to come to this because of all the atomic stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and even in 2014, they don't feel like sorry for him like in the old one. There is at least in the newer one, at least more consideration of him.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
He's now also robbed of really safe and boring. It makes no sense due to.
He's not.
There you go, using that word again. I do not think you know what that word means.
He did not watch the Showa films because he's a far bigger hero in those movies than Monsterverse.
Yeah, it's like
He still does not care about humanity.
Yeah, if anything, you can credit the 2014 movie by reeling that element back a little compared to those older movies.
He's still more or less heroic, but it's more that I am begrudgingly a hero because I fucking live here.
Yeah, you can tell in 2014 that that's the case.
Like in the last half of the Showa films, the intention was straight up, Godzilla is now like a Super Sentai hero that kids look up to.
Well, a tokusatsu hero, yeah.
Yeah. Which is why we got that awesome scene in Godzilla vs. Megalon with the fucking awesome dropkick that they replay because it was so awesome.
The freaking is that the one where he's like riding? It looks like he's riding with his tail on the ground. Yeah.
I'll post it in the chat.
That and the stupid damn dance as well.
No, the dances from the different.
I know it's from a different thing, but I'm just saying that's some of the stuff that from the older movies that people remember.
Yeah, mainly because we love the goofy shit. It's like when it comes to Godzilla, Godzilla's a very versatile character. He's both a hero and a villain.
And an anti-hero.
Yeah, whatever movie you're making, he'll be whatever the plot demands him to be. So, if you need him to be the more heroic figure, he'll be that. If you need him to be the villain, that needs to be stopped, yeah, you can do that. That's one reason why Godzilla had managed to stay relevant fucking 70 years after he was created. Because of how versatile he is.
Mm-hmm.
The character. 2014 Godzilla isn't flawed because it has human characters and barely shows Godzilla with only a little bit of action fights. Because as we see later, those movies are even worse. 2014 is flawed because
Didn't he say at the beginning that King of the Monsters is better than 2014?
No, he flat out said 2014 was better. Let's hear bullshit reasoning before I get into it.
before you hit play, hold on. Like, which one? You being a fan of Godzilla, which one is better in your opinion?
King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Okay.
I'm a personal. 2014 is my personal favorite.
I mean, yeah, and 2014 on its own is at least good.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
anything
it's good.
spectacular, but
I think Godzilla vs. Kong is the most fun. But you know,
from what I've seen and heard, yeah.
King of the Monsters. Like when I went and saw that in theaters, it was just so good and had so much great stuff for Godzilla fans. Like I could not stop shaking in my seat from how excited I was watching it.
Yeah.
like they changed directors, and the director was a huge fan, and
Yeah.
it's like I kind of wish Gareth Edwards comes back.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hear.
They weren't making the Monsterverse. They're not making the Monsterverse movie for general audiences. They were making them more for Godzilla fans.
This is these films. I mean, would you argue starting with 2014, these films have been for fans, or after that?
I would definitely say yeah, but 2014 was definitely very flawed in that. His argument of
I've argued 2014 is the one. I've argued that 2014 set the stage for the current wave of films.
Yeah, 100% did. For the Toho films too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like kind of like the first Crash Bandicoot game. A lot of good starting things there, but boy, it's rough.
A lot of first games. If you want to talk video games, a lot of first games like they're basically the primer. They set the stage for what comes after.
And then the sequels improve on it.
Yeah. All right, so let's hear this next point on.
I could have sworn he said at the start of the video that King of the Monsters is better than 2014, but maybe I misheard.
Someone watching can verify that.
And is a safe depiction that makes this Americanized monster a hero without anything to say. And I know 1954 is old, and that movie is aged, but recently a movie has come out that has blown all the Godzilla movies in the past 10 years out the water, and it was from Toho Studios, or Godzilla is back in Japan, and that movie was Takashi Yamazaki's Godzilla -1.
And it's basically a remake of the first movie.
It's a remake of 54?
It's I saw. Essentially, it's a remake of 54. It has It's heavily based on it, I guess, because
is it the same premise, or
it's basically the same premise, but it's more about
But it's definitely more about the human characters after because they're Japanese people right after World War II. Because the movie literally starts at the tail end of World War II, and the main character is like
the original.
The main character, no.
Okay.
The original was more like the immediate aftermath of nukes hitting the scene, not more.
More or less. Godzilla, the original Godzilla film. They more or less had it just take place in the same year.
That was part of the reason the original film didn't do so well with critics when it came out, was because they felt it hit too close to home so soon after the bombings in World War II. And this film is pretty comfortable, just like, World War II, exactly, right after the nukes. It's essentially written as a war film first and a Godzilla monster movie second.
Joe Crazy, I'm gonna point this out, but I think the point is not really based on -1 success in the state. It's more who is making them, because -1 is made by Toho, who they're the people that made Godzilla in the first place. And the Monsterverse films are made by Legendary Pictures, which is a Canadian studio.
Okay. Oh,
they're Canadian?
Legendary Pictures, they're Canadian, but they do work with Hollywood. I believe Legendary Pictures is Canadian, and they're contracted through Warner Brothers.
I will double check.
Yeah. But back on the Monsterverse thing, it's like 2014. There's one thing with Godzilla 2014 that pretty much the point he keeps making that people complained about was there wasn't enough focus on the monsters. One of the big reasons people were complaining about that is because in the movie they kept having a lot of fake out regarding them. Like they made the action look like we were going to see some good monster action, and then they're like, nope, we're going to cut away. Hey, we're going to cut away from that. You only get to see a little bit of action on a tiny TV screen, or we just go to the next scene and we don't fucking care. And it's like, again, 2014 still a good movie, but like a lot of people really hated getting blue balls like that.
Okay, I double checked. The deal is with not Warner Brothers, but Sony.
Okay.
But yeah, it is between Toho and Legendary, with Sony being the main part of the deal.
Oh yeah, they had a deal where I think the deal was an American Godzilla movie can't come out within 3 years of a Toho one or something.
I think roughly.
But
yeah.
But that kind of brings up the issue of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which is apparently coming out this year.
I'd rather see that than the TV show, though.
There was some sort of deal where it was like, okay, but maybe the deal was they can't come out in the same year that the Toho one in them.
I think maybe they're making an exception for this one because this year is 2024, which is the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. So I think Toho is willing to be like, you know what, it's Godzilla's 70th birthday, so we're gonna let you release the new movie this year as well. I'm just speculating on that though. So.
One was why I made this entire movie ever made, and it
It's the
actually
only
made
one
me
you saw.
feel something. I'm a big box office pessimist, and lately American blockbusters have been safe, generic, and boring, which is no surprise that they've been flopping left and right because people...
Safe?
Hey.
Do you call this whole wokeification, this racial sexist bullshit that the socialists are making, this propaganda crap that even children despise, safe? It's not failing because it's safe, it's failing because it's fetishistic political propaganda shoved down the throats of the public.
Except Transformers Rise of the Beast. That was actually a really good movie that didn't have that bullshit. And yet he's calling it boring, and I'm just sitting here like, yeah, dude, it may have flopped, but there's like other reasons for that.
What's the 2.5 rule?
The 2.5 rule is that if a movie wants to make a profit, it has to earn about 2.5 times the amount the budget would, because you gotta take into account, like, I guess, licensing fees and the advertising for the movie.
Yeah, marketing is about 50%.
I looked it up. It did. I think it just barely did. Rise of the Beast was like close to 200 million. Right, I'm seeing the number of 439 million. So I think it just barely broke even.
Yeah.
By the rule of 2.5.
Yeah.
People are burnt out of high-budget mediocrity. Compelling
Except Rise of the Beast is not mediocrity. I think he's just saying that because he hadn't watched Beast Wars.
Yeah, it's well, it's not required. You just have to know the basics of what they actually use. But other than that,
yeah. Other than that, nah.
And no, it didn't. And no, and again, like I just fact checked him on that. It's like no, it didn't. The movie did not fail.
Yeah, it didn't fail.
It broke even.
Yeah, I think it is technically. I think it is the lowest grossing Transformers movie that's been released, but still didn't. It still at least broke even.
Yeah, let me just find the full list while we keep going in the video.
Yeah.
Human characters, nuanced discussion with critiques on the Japanese government while having havoc and consequences that feel impactful, while also having an antagonist that is menacing, threatening, and terrible.
He said this while he's saying this while he's using footage of Shin Godzilla. Like,
I don't think he mentioned seeing that.
I get that, Minec 1 it went only in theaters like 2 months ago. So, you're not going to be able to get a lot of footage for it, but it's like just keep using the little amount of footage from Minec 1 that you can actually use. Don't make it look like you're talking one thing while showing another thing.
Done with $15 million was beyond satisfying.
That's
if
debated.
it wasn't obvious from the game.
What?
The 15 million budget's debated now.
There's still a point though with it though, considering it does make a good point though. It's like even if it's not exactly 15 million, it's still a much lower budget than movies nowadays are fucking.
Yeah, there's a ton of the film is just practical effects. It's just people at real locations.
Yeah. And that's definitely one thing to discuss with, like, a lot of these movies kind of suck because they just have ballooning budgets and they don't really know what to fucking do with them.
And the agenda.
Yeah.
And just these CGI messes that even the actors involved are like, I can't stand working on a green screen. I want to work with people. Oh.
Yeah, it's ridiculous and just like the effect in Godzilla Minec 1, again, about a $15 million budget apparently. And its effect looked leaps and bounds better than any other movie that was released within that same year, pretty much. Like, ridiculous.
Industry with companies like From Software and Nintendo, Japan could cook up some pretty cool shit. Godzilla -1 makes American Godzilla look like an embarrassment because it does.
Technically,
make him look like an embarrassment. He said that he showed the coolest fucking part from Godzilla 2014.
Also, isn't technically Godzilla -1 like part Canadian Godzilla because of the deal between Toho and Legendary?
I don't think.
But by technicality.
I think you're thinking of Monsterverse Godzilla, not
Monster. Oh, that's not about. Oh yeah, never mind then.
Yeah.
Well, the -1 Godzilla is completely different from all the other ones in the franchise.
Yeah. Well, considering it's a remake.
It's not even really similar to the original.
I wouldn't really call it a remake there, Ginga, because, like, just first off, it's not really a spoiler since it's into the very beginning of the movie. Godzilla showed up in the first 10 minutes, and
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Jeez.
Yeah, he's just he's not like he's not the sea creature that he's implied to be in the original. He's just a straight up dinosaur.
Yeah. Well, kind of. He's still pretty much like an aquatic faring dinosaur, but the main thing is in the beginning of the movie, when you first see him, he is actually a lot smaller than he normally is.
Even after he's juiced up, he's smaller. I think he's the smallest one in terms of all the others.
I don't know. All I know is later, like somewhere here after the beginning of the movie, he gets hit with the nuclear weapon testing again, and it makes him bigger.
Yeah, that's the thing about -1.
Actually, I don't even know if it would the nuclear weapon testing. It might have just been straight up the bombing.
It was the testing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was the test. He shows up right after the bombing of Nagasaki, the main character, and then the testing happens, and then it's kind of glossed over. Like a lot of aspects of Godzilla are really glossed over in the film. Like there's no scene where people are like, how is there this giant dinosaur? It's like when Godzilla shows up, he's just like, they're just like, what's that? And then one other soldier says, oh, the natives told me that this thing's been around, and they just accept it, and they just
Also, chat number. I don't think it's really a mic problem. I think that's just from how I talk.
Yeah, you sound fine. Besides that,
yeah, I don't know if Chad's really. I don't know if Chad Summer's talking to me specifically or not, but I'm thinking it might be me because just the way I talk, I say S down through my nose.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is you. I think it is you he's talking about. But you sound fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Just figured anyway. Let's hear what. Let's try to get through this bullshit.
Emphasis on try.
Yeah, we got less than 10 minutes.
1954, Godzilla isn't a character, but more of a natural disaster. And for a natural disaster to have impact, first you need compelling people to be impacted. I cared about the human characters in this film, and I hated Godzilla for what he did to them. But the reason why the human characters were so impactful was because of Japan and how it's depicted. Japan is a place in history that has been through a lot of shit, which makes it a great setting for Godzilla because it goes hand to hand with its creation like we said earlier. After World War II, Japan was in a low state, and the victims of both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as the firebomb victims, were innocent people caught in the crossfire between feuding militaries. The movie takes place right after World War II with Japan at its lowest point, which brings up a huge point for why this movie exists. It's once again an anti-war film where you're reminded that the Imperial Japan military was not great and that the modern Japanese government is not that great either. Japanese studios such as Ghibli and even films like 1954's Godzilla tend to only depict Japan as the victims to catastrophe from the United States, but something to remember is that after Japan's very flawed attack.
Did Ghibli do that? Grave of the Fireflies was just the perspective from innocent civilians being at the mercy of war.
Yeah.
You can watch that, like if we were some aliens, we could watch that without any knowledge of who the other side is. And it doesn't matter what your government did or what it thought. Civilians are civilians. And Grave of the Firefly specifically is about children. Why he was showing Sento Chihiro, I don't understand. It's just like he's picking random scenes from random movies. Makes sense, man.
In the -1's case, about how the movie has like a critique on the government, it's not just the Japanese government, it's kind of the other governments at the time as well. It's like this noted the Soviets and USA don't want to get involved or help.
Yeah.
And there's a focus on the people being able to come together and pull themselves out of disaster because the government's not going to help them.
In other Godzilla movies, what you see from the government, Shin Godzilla is a recent great example of that. How does a government actually respond? How does bureaucracy respond to an incomprehensible threat? We have meetings. We go from meeting to meeting to meeting. What actually happens? Like, okay, we get a fire truck that puts a pipe up Godzilla's nose. Eventually.
Yeah. And the funny thing with Shin Godzilla, it was actually a bit of a satire of how the Japanese government actually handled a recent disaster they went under.
Yeah, that movie's very targeted at the Japanese government itself. And
yeah. Specifically for their lackluster actions of getting shit done to help people. That they just sat around with thumbs up their ass. And
that's a big part of -1 is it's more focused on the war than any other Godzilla movie.
Yeah, it's very much focused on World War II, its aftermath, and exactly how Japan viewed honor. Because the main character of -1 is a kamikaze pilot who fled because he didn't want to die. And that part of his big character arc in the movie, just because practically a lot of people were just like you were a hero and you didn't kill yourself. You have no honor. You bring shame. and it pretty much and that kind of shit haunted him. And
then there's the whole beginning of the film, which is I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah.
Like it's like Godzilla in the movie is a obstacle for Japan, the Japanese people itself, to build themselves up after all the shit. It's like to get over all the World War II trauma.
Yeah, more or less. And like, I'm gonna say that Godzilla Minus One, it's definitely a really fucking good movie. And I would agree, it's probably one of the best Godzilla movies ever made. I'm just hating the effect it's having by the.
I hate this. I saw -1. I know everything now about Godzilla.
Yeah, like this guy, fucking clout hungry fuckface over here.
Funnily enough, last time I checked, Godzilla vs. Destroyer is still the highest rated Godzilla movie.
I fucking love it.
Godzilla vs. Destroyer is definitely like one of the most perfect balances between like the action of the movie with the theory and drama, because you're getting all that great monster fighting with Godzilla and Destroyer and Godzilla Jr. and all that shit, but then you also got the theory and drama of, hey, not only is Destroyer a major problem, Godzilla is at critical mass and about to fucking explode, and if he does that, the whole planet goes with him.
Then halfway through, they solved that, but then now it's just only Japan that's getting fucked by it.
And then there's this whole horrible demon monster.
That's Destroyer.
That's the devil.
The literal consequence of the oxygen destroyer.
Yeah, the literal consequences of the oxygen destroyer, which killed the original Godzilla.
In fact, they thought it was so good, they wanted to just end the whole franchise there, and then the American version pissed them off so much they
made Godzilla 2000 in response.
One was okay. So the manga of that thing.
Isoroku Yamamoto wrote this in his diary. All we have done is awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with terrible resolve. It makes sense why Japan is very anti-war after what the atomic bomb did to them, but old Japanese media has a massive trend of playing victim in history when, even before the atomic bombs, Japan's military was notorious for conquering other nations and being really brutal, committing tons of war crimes in their history. The Japanese military also had no value for human life. Brainwashing.
I mean, a lot of countries kind of do that with their own military history.
Japan has a notable instance of just they still don't want to talk about what they did in China, and that's like the government gets hounded on that even recently. But that's
Yeah, but don't ask the Chinese what they did or the Koreans what they did, because that's on the same level of insanity.
Yeah, it's like
and only the Japanese getting hounded on that is just as hypocritical as not hounding on anyone.
Yeah, at the very least, with America, we're at least willing to be like, yeah, we did some fucked up shit, and we're gonna teach our kids about it to make sure it doesn't happen again.
And we'll do it again.
Yeah. Because remember, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it.
And also try to hide history, want to repeat it.
He's probably going to talk about it now, but he's talking about the treatment of the soldiers. And there's a great moment in the movie that like illustrates that's specifically targeting the government, being like they treat the soldiers like crap.
Yeah.
However, playing the victim is not something I associate with Japan or Japanese culture at all.
Yeah.
It's rather the opposite.
Also, Tyler
it would be the most shameful and dishonorable thing to do.
Yeah. Tyler Preston in the chat has a good statement right there. Every country has blood on their hands. They sure as fuck do. No country.
All history.
Yeah.
And didn't know what war was until Hitler attacked.
And nobody did anything bad until Hitler. It was total happy rainbow peace everywhere in the world.
With sunshine and rainbows and
And then Hitler crawled out of the sea foam of Poseidon. Wait, no, that was a different person.
Not even lawyers existed. It was a world without lawyers. Can you imagine that?
In a way, enough of the
Brainwashed our nation that dying for said nation was one of the most honorable things you could do. It's why they had things like kamikaze pilots and seppuku. This is why Imperial Japan and American media is portrayed to be so relentless and brutal, not caring if they lived or died. Because for the most part, they didn't care if they lived or died. It was expected that you were going to die in combat. Like I said earlier with media like Oppenheimer and
I'm pretty sure that's for all countries. When you're going to war, or as much as you want to come home, as much as you want to not be in the war or in combat, more or less you're gonna have to come to the terms that there is a high chance I could die. So
for king and fatherland or queen and motherland, whichever floats your goat.
Yeah. Fight for your country. If you die, go up, then that's just the consequence of war, sadly. Nobody wants to go to war and die for their country, but if it has to happen, it's gonna happen.
Some type of patriotism does exist in the United States, even though a certain side of politics is trying to erode that.
Yep.
Big issue today. The atomic bomb debate is now fresh again. But with everything aside, without the atomic bomb drop, Japan would
I mean it's the fucking talk about the atomic bomb discussion about it, whether it was better or worse than the alternative, that kind of been going on for years now. And ultimately, the atomic bomb was the more necessary evil. Because it would have actually cost a lot more lives on both the American and Japanese side if they didn't drop the bomb. Yeah. History is really crazy.
war with the United States. So while I know Godzilla 1954 is very much still an anti-war film about how nukes are bad, showing what Japan went through, it does brush past that Japan's military threw a stone at the United States, killing United States civilians when they were well aware they were never going to win a conflict with the United States, but still did it anyway since they needed to get resources from claimed US lands that were under embargo laws. So Pearl Harbor was an attack on the US Navy to demoralize the US, but they didn't attack the repair yards, so it was pointless anyway, and got their whole nation nuked in retaliation. So while the ethics of the atomic bomb
He's glossing over a history thing too. Like those embargoes were placed because Japan was doing a lot of messed up stuff, and with what,
Yeah. Also, the entire country of Japan didn't get fucked up from two nukes. Just two cities and the immediate and the surrounding area around them. Yeah. I don't know like the affected radius of the radiation from the atomic bomb, but either way, still didn't make Japan completely uninhabitable.
Japan's military put their civilians in harm's way for no reason, which is why modern-day Japan is more resentful of Imperial Japan when it comes to anti-war rather than the United States. Japan during the 1910s to 1920s was in a really good innovative period called the Taisho Jidai. Japan was transitioning to more of a Western democratic government with a lot of Western influence impacting culture, arts, politics, and many other avenues. I need to clearly state that Japan and Japan's military are two different things. Japan's military was a parasite to the Japanese government, taking control from the inside, which as we know was the demise of Japan itself. I joked about it earlier, but people like Ishiro Honda, who made the original Godzilla, was even at fault for this. While he acknowledged how horrific war was, he still made propaganda films for the Japanese military, which led to this cancer spreading. Propaganda and military control started dragging Japanese society into their conflicts. Men were expected to go to war and die. It was seen as honorable to serve and die for your military. This is why I prefer -1 to the original 1954 movie, because -1 is critical to the Japanese government.
Not your military. Your God Emperor.
Your
literally, that's what the Emperor was. He was a living God. He was a God Emperor. That's who you're dying for.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Not
I'm
the
pretty sure
military, you fucking dolt.
I'm pretty sure the emperor. I'm pretty sure the more direct translation for emperor, or at the very least, from what I learned from Bill Wirt, they could be right or wrong, but pretty much the word emperor means heavenly super person. So yeah, pretty much God amongst men or something like that.
Also, his comment on Honda and how he helped make propaganda, I'm pretty sure Honda later said he didn't like doing it, and I don't think he had much of a choice.
Yeah,
exactly.
If
further early in the video, he did acknowledge that somewhat between the lines. But now he
forgetting what he fucking
erased
said
that
earlier.
line.
Yeah. You just
What
go
the
back
hell?
to an earlier point and act like it didn't happen.
What a disingenuous bastard.
Yeah, like Joe Crazy said, if Honda refused, he could have been arrested or worse.
Exactly.
No, would have been declared
probably goes for Walt
dishonorable.
Disney.
Yeah.
You can imagine that similar things happened in certain countries in Europe.
Yeah.
If you didn't do as you're told, well, off you go, and off goes your family too.
Yep. And your ancestors will forever be shamed by you specifically, and your children's children and their children will forever be have their honor stained by you.
Oh yeah, that's a whole extra
dishonor
angle.
on you, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cow.
And your hamster.
Hey, don't get the pets involved.
They always get everything involved that you care about. They'll get your collection of waifu miniatures involved.
Apparently, some people are saying that this video, apparently the script might have been AI generated.
This guy sounds like a Zoomer. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say like it is, but it would make a lot of sense on why the structure is
I
whack.
expect better of AI.
I wouldn't be surprised if he outsourced the editing, and that's why it's a train wreck, and he just didn't care.
Yeah, this whole video's been a train wreck.
In the film is going against the normal Japanese people. The government is no help and doesn't intervene, and neither does the US, because if they did, the film would be over in like 2 seconds. But -1 is a critique.
No.
What? How? You can't kill Godzilla with atomic weapons.
Yeah.
That's the whole joke.
You kill him with an atomic weapon, you just create another Godzilla. But just
make him bigger.
You didn't make him bigger, you create
supercharge him.
I would say how exactly they deal with Godzilla at the end of the movie, but I really don't want to spoil that because it's a really good scene, and just like please go watch My Next
Yeah,
One.
the end, the
really
way
good
they
movie.
deal with him at the end is very like surprising, and it's very unique and pretty great.
Yeah, because they do come to a revelation about. They do come to a revelation about how Godzilla biology kind of works in this movie and stuff. So,
Right, let's go on. Maybe we'll get through this madness.
Its beliefs and values in World War II. The main character is a kamikaze pilot that is full of survivor's guilt because he didn't fulfill the military standards of giving your own life for a government that doesn't really care about you. He is judged by his neighbors for not killing himself in war, and is hateful of himself, struggling with survivor's guilt for also not killing himself in war. The film directly critiques Japan's old views of not valuing human life, or how Japan didn't care about anyone's life really at all. And while Godzilla is still an allegory for the nuclear bomb, the film really conveys how it was the everyday people who had to pick up the pieces and deal with the fallout.
The whole thing is about the honorable suicide. Is that while it seems deranged to you and brutal, it is a way to retain order, even if it did catch a lot of good people, and people who could have redeemed themselves. The whole idea of it was that by giving your life willingly, you pay the highest price, a blood price, that restores order to your family, that redeems your lineage. Because people, of course, believe that, well, if there's one black sheep, well, why wouldn't his offspring be black sheep either? So by proving that you're a good sheep, you redeem your lineage, and thus you reset public order, you reset law and order thereby, and society can continue in a stable fashion. That's the idea behind that, and to a degree that works with detriment, with exploits of that system, just as our system has exploits and weaknesses. Like in Germany specifically, we have an extreme leaning on prison as rehabilitation, not punishment. German prison sentences are about rehabilitation. And that does have its problems when you're dealing with people who cannot be rehabilitated. So what do you do then when the sentence is over? Well, you reevaluate the person, and if it's a crazy psychopath, you don't let him out again. After all, even though the sentence is over, but it's deemed that, well, we know this person will commit crimes again because he's not reformed. Maybe he is irreformable. That too, of course, could be exploited by corrupt people by slamming that onto political opponents they just don't like. There's always, no matter what rule you make, it can be misused. And for neighbors to demand that you better kill yourself for our sakes is way easier than for your own family to demand that. There's also that is an important difference as well. So this is way too superficial for me.
Masterclass when it comes to being an anti-war film. So much so that you could remove Godzilla from it and it would still be an amazing standalone film. Which brings us back to why America can't do Godzilla. Back in 1954 when Godzilla came to the US, it was censored and remarketed to look like a fun blockbuster, similar to something like The Beast of 20,000 Fathoms, cutting 20 minutes of crucial political discussion, where then after the main lead was an inserted American reporter, where then the critiques of America's nuclear testing and nuclear power were also censored and changed. 1956 Godzilla King of the Monsters is a spineless shit movie that gutted the original impact of the 1954 version.
Except no, it didn't. Because
it still had mention of atomic tests.
Yeah. They literally just it's literally the same fucking story. It just took out some scenes of it so they could add new scenes with American actors to have the American audience be able to, like, feel included in it.
Also, the actor Raymond Burr, he's very proud of that movie because he thought it still delivered. Yeah. He was very proud of his role in that movie because he still thought it delivered the anti-war, anti-nuclear message that the original did.
Yeah, in fact, he believed it so much when he came back in the American version of Return of Godzilla, aka Godzilla 1985. They told him they wanted to make his character be like a bumbling idiot,
a comic relief guy, and he was like, "No, I'm not doing this."
Like, he was like, "No, I'm going to treat this very seriously, like the serious monster movie it is."
And he wanted to be. He was a bigger actor at the time, and he like actively reached out. Was like, "I want to be in this because I like." Yeah. Because I loved my role so much.
Yeah. And
it was like for him, it was essentially like a C-list movie, and he just and he was like an A-list actor.
Yeah, and he liked doing it, and like Tyler Preston said in the chat, Japan did like the American version of the movie too.
Without King of the Monsters, the Godzilla franchise probably never would have happened because the King of Monsters was so successful in America. And it got more people to talk about the original Japanese movie, and then so Japan was like, "Hey, let's put Godzilla in something again," and that was Kong versus Godzilla, and that was at the time the biggest.
It was Godzilla Rage Again.
Well, no, like got
King Kong versus Godzilla was the third movie.
Yeah, they got it. King of the Monsters was after Raids Again, right?
No,
that King of the Monsters is the American cut.
Well, no, I meant like it was released. King of the Monsters was released after Raids Again came out.
No, it didn't.
What's that?
Godzilla Rage Again came
like a year after.
Yeah, it came out.
Raids is months after.
Yeah.
Like they were very it was successful for it. Toho saw the success and it like helped them put Godzilla in more stuff.
Hold on, I'm looking up the. Apparently Godzilla Rage Again was released in 1955.
Yeah, King of the Monsters was 56.
Yeah, 1 year before the American 56. But.
Wait! Now I remember. King of the Monsters was in America in 56, but then the King of the Monsters cut got released in Japan later, and that got other success in Japan, and that got them to put Godzilla in another thing, which was Godzilla vs. Kong, which that was like the biggest, the most successful Japanese movie ever at the time.
King Kong versus Godzilla was one of the biggest Japanese movies ever made.
And it held that title for a long time.
Yeah. Since here it was the second highest grossing Japanese film in history upon its release. For the Japanese version.
Not bad.
And Godzilla Rage Again, the American version, which they redubbed as Gigantic the Fire Monster.
It's not called Gigantus, damn it.
Yeah, I know. That one released in 1959 for the American audience.
Yeah, the popularity of the American cut led to a release of the recut in Japan, which fared well, and this was instrumental in the original cut becoming more popular in Japan. The original Gojira being popular in Japan.
Yeah. Either way, dismissing Godzilla King of the Monsters 1956 because it's the American version that added some new scenes while having to remove a couple others to make the movie not go on too long. Calling it a bad movie is just a bad take, dude, and this guy definitely deserved all the clowning he's getting on it.
Also, yeah, and the original Gojira cut didn't get great critical reception at the time it came out.
Yeah.
The United States often views critical media. So when this one and then go back to 2014, you see more cracks of how 2014 has nothing to say. My friend Sweets' Online gave me a quote when we were talking about this video. If you want to know what the biggest piggy bank is in the world, look at the United States military. Funding games like Call of Duty, movies like Top Gun.
No.
Like many other pieces of media to display the United States military. You could get a lot of your budget paid when you display the military as heroic badasses. But now you have restrictions of being a puppet, not able to bite the hand that feeds you. United States propaganda is so prevalent that you might not even know it's propaganda. To film with American military technology and vehicles is
Is he calling 2014 why is he mentioning this?
Department of Defense will give you money, tax breaks, and access to display the military in your film in hopes that people might want to enlist. But the catch is that the DoD has to approve your script and messaging of how the military is depicted. Thus, we bring...
Is he pulling this shit out of his ass?
That is actually a thing. That is actually a thing.
Okay. I didn't know if that was the thing. It just sounds like something he would pull out of his ass.
The Vietnam War is heavily scrutinized in American history due to how badly they failed in that conflict and how it was overall pointless. So you have films that represent the brutality of the United States as well as the incompetence, like Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket. And surprise, surprise, they got no funding from the piggy bank. Also, you know that movie Forrest Gump where Sheriff Woody was in Vietnam? Well, that segment was critical of Vietnam, so the script was changed by the Department of Defense because if they didn't, they'd also get no money from the piggy bank. When you do more research yourself, you see how much America cares about their image due to the films being seen nationwide. So they make sure that
and
that's every country again.
Yeah, and even then, the war movies still kind of really bring home the message of war fucking sucks. Being in the military fucking sucks. Like you'll get a lot. They'll give you a lot of benefit for being in the military. The catch is, you have a high chance that you're going to be called into battle and potentially die.
It still doesn't make sense, because is he saying that it's 2014 doesn't work because Americans don't want to criticize the American military? But in '98 they still had its nukes that caused Godzilla, and
the American military doesn't want to see the American military criticized.
Yeah, the thing is with the American military, like, pretty much everyone agreed the military fucking sucks. But the thing is, we're criticizing the military as an organization and not the individual people, that just joined the military for like the benefit that it could give them.
Well, what does this have to do with 2014? Unless 2014 actually got this American military bucks he's talking about.
I have no idea.
America will no matter what, even if the truth might not be so. So when you see Godzilla 2014 with a budget of $160 million, with American Navy and bomb squads and Air Force all helping Godzilla save the day, it's no surprise that the film had an agreement with the Department of Defense where they provided locations, vehicles, and military representation. And while at times the military is incompetent and kind of useless in the film, it's never
okay, so you're wrong.
With grand messaging, because like...
Go ahead.
Well, then he just admits he's wrong.
No, he wants to look. It's about even though it's a threat that the military can't take, it's still depicted as positive and heroic. That's the thing. The Monster Hunter movie had a similar issue.
Yeah, probably.
Because you had the heroically depicted American military. But it was also completely useless because that's the point of the monster.
Yeah, that's literally how Godzilla had been since day fucking one. And it's like at this point, no Godzilla fans really cheering on the military. Because they're trying to stop Godzilla. In fact, we're just being like, oh god, why do you even try? It's obvious it's not working. So it's like we're pretty much thinking you know damn well it's useless, but we know for a fact that you gotta have the military trying it and failing anyway.
It still doesn't make sense what his argument is, because if he's saying it doesn't, American Godzilla doesn't work because they can't do that, like criticism of America and nukes messaging. '98 still did that, and it wasn't very good.
Yeah, for a lot of reasons.
The hand that feeds you is going to drop your budget from 160 million to low 15 million, like Godzilla -1.
Yeah,
okay, this guy's fucked.
Yeah, you know who's the real hand that feeds them? Godzilla fans.
The reason they had a 15 million budget because they didn't suck the militaries off. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently. Like, ridiculous.
It can't work in America. To be critical of the United States government requires you to be independent. And by how bloated the film industry is with high film budgets and how propaganda has affected how the Godzilla character is viewed, you make more money by having Godzilla be Superman, killing tons of innocent people.
There he goes again by calling Godzilla Superman.
Propaganda affected how Godzilla was viewed. Okay, so 90% of the Japanese films didn't depict Godzilla the way he says it has to be done to work.
Well, all you have to do is look at the grant submission form for if you're an independent studio or whatever, and you submit your form to whatever state or country you're a part of. You say, how do I get, whatever budget from you guys? And it's not a big amount of money. It's maybe like 10% of your overall budget. And I've seen this in Canada with like the Quebec film schools and all the media centers across the grant programs. We have like a $65 billion grant program in Canada per year for all kinds of nonsense. So you would just apply to that form. So get the form, say, what do I have to do to get approved? And then you submit your form. They contact you. They talk to you. You have a meeting with them. And they say, what is your project? Oh, I want to go be a reporter for this event, and I need $500 traveling fees. Like, no problem. Go with that. Represent Canada. Yada yada yada. Like, there's all kinds of things you could apply for. So I highly doubt there's like, oh yeah, you have to have like this slogan and this depicted. Like, maybe there's a war expert, like an equipment expert that is separate that they would hire, and you could use that money to afford that guy to then make whatever realistic looking models or equipment, but not like they have like some like you have to only have Americans look good and they have to always save the day. Like, that's not going to happen.
I can imagine they wouldn't get sign off to use tanks and have the DoD applications if the movie was like, hey, Al Qaeda, they did some pretty good stuff, huh? And I imagine that for stuff like that, but not for just, hey, yeah,
there's all kinds of programs. I remember if you wanted to pick the French or the French language, the Quebecois culture, or the Native American culture in Canada, we've got a whole host of Canadian grants for whatever media you're producing. So, and if you hire people that are mixed and you have a nice ratio between your, like, believe it or not, this is what's happening in Canada the past 20 years because of our blowing up media industry, or Canada, was it Canada North or Hollywood North, whatever it's called? They love you. Like, oh, here's some money. Have some money, random individual. Please make money with, please make media with Aboriginals or whatever. So, yes, they have their own standards. Follow the rules. You get funding. The rest is the writers and the producers' work.
It's so baffling that he compares the funding Toho was able to give the movie project to the funding a Hollywood thing was able to get.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, it's because of the military. It's 'cause
if you look at all the productions of Godzilla, they're all made by Toho or a subsidiary of Toho. So,
and they were shoestring from the start. And it didn't matter. Like, they're not shitting on the military in every single Godzilla movie, and then they still had like low budgets.
Yeah, it is literally not a propaganda film about how amazing America is because it's a freaking Godzilla movie.
Or him saving the day, rather than him destroying the United States with the government losing and being useless. And this has been a problem since 1956, when America turned a tragedy film to a blockbuster, gutting it.
I'm pretty sure Toho was the one that did that, you dumbass. Because they wanted the movie to get a Western audience to make it more popular.
As Godzilla King of the Monsters made way more money than Gojira, so much so that Japan stopped calling him Gojira and took on Godzilla and repainted his image as the savior of Japan that fought giant monsters.
Except no, they didn't. They still refer to him as Gojira.
Toho did that too because it was also in response to what Japanese audiences they thought wanted, not just because West.
Yeah. Like if you watch like a lot of Godzilla movies dubbed in their original Japanese, the way they say Godzilla is still really pretty much just Gojira. They just say it in a way that makes it sound a little more like Godzilla.
God, this guy. Ginga, is this what you said by the 2 minutes? That's 2-minute crazy.
The last 2 minutes of insanity. I think we're just about there. Yeah.
Oh, we're not. Oh, great.
We're literally in the last 2 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want to.
9,387,000,000. But what is art, and how do
Ah.
we view art? Is a nothing blockbuster funded by the U.S. military
What the
better than a
fuck?
$15 million Jap
Hold on, I'm
and
rewinding.
took on Godzilla and repainted his image in a man that fought giant monsters? 529,387,000,000. They're making money, and that's all that matters now. But
That
what is
doesn't-
art, and
But what is art? Let's change
What
the
is
topic.
art?
What is art? How do we view it?
Why?
How do we
This
view
is
art?
so random.
What are movies? What is music?
Yeah.
Karl Marx once said,
It's the fuck off. What is
Boy,
this? Like this is art. It's like I don't know what the hell your deal is with this.
Godzilla has
His-
nothing to lose but his chains.
Uh-huh.
Also, it's like when you're making a movie, you're always going to be trying to make art, but you also have the incentive of wanting to make money, so you can make more art.
His whole thing is wrong. I almost got his whole thing about 2014 is a propaganda. It's only like that. It can't do a certain message because it's funded by this. Is wrong anyway because Gareth Edwards, what he said, his intentions were, and Toho's reaction to the movie, and they thought that it lived up to the tone and message of Godzilla.
Yeah, they want for 2014. They went into the movie with the mindset of we want to prove to Toho that America or the West, whatever, or that the West could make a good Godzilla movie and redeem themselves after, pretty much spitting on the legacy of Godzilla with the 1998 film.
Well, I just imagine if this video was like Shin Megami Tensei doesn't work in the States, and you're like blah blah, this is Japan whatever, and then you stop and go, what is art? Like, no, dude, you don't have to.
What is manga?
This is the obligatory video essay question.
Because he doesn't have an ending, he doesn't have a conclusion to his video, so he has to make some bullshit reference to nothing.
Oh, I think the previous accusation that the script was AI generated does
feeling
come
no-
true through this part, because when you ask the AI, write me a script about the Godzilla things video essay script, the AI goes through what do all these video essays contain, and many of them contain bullshit questions like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's jabbed in
Is a-
here.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Is a nothing blockbuster funded by the U.S. military better than a $15 million Japanese film with a lot to say because it made
Nothing
more money? Is
blockbuster?
King of the Monsters better than Gojira since it made more money? We're beginning to look at box office.
That depends on who you ask. Some people don't like the original Gojira because they think it's a little too dark.
Is he trying to evaluate the rebranding of the original film in America and why the American film, like when Hollywood was taking off in the 50s and 60s, why they would consume more films than anything else just because it's the 50s? And like, I don't know, dude. There's lots of reasons why people would buy something over another something in a different culture at a different time period.
Yeah.
Like, what-
America, like the 50s too, in America was all of, like, a film was filled with, oh man, all these crazy sci-fi monsters. I want to see something I haven't seen before. Oh hey, a giant lizard that breathes fire. I want to see that.
Yeah. Jay Jamison in the chat. Box office is not artistic merit, but it does dictate success.
Well, also look at Americans in the 50s and 60s and how well they were doing, the rates of inflation, what it cost for a cup of coffee, like all these basic things that you could afford. Hey, I got money to go to the movies. What's playing? I don't know. Let's go watch whatever. There's lots of reasons why this did well. So I don't think this guy's understanding, like he's talking about a different country. This is, Give me the
His
number.
Different standard.
His argument doesn't even make sense in regards to the country he's trying to like argue for. It's because by his own metric of why a Godzilla film works, then 90% of everything Japan did with Godzilla doesn't work for him.
Yeah. Literally 90% of the Godzilla movie, he's fighting another monster.
Also, he's not. He's talking about how like it has something to say. There are other Japanese Godzilla movies he could be talking about besides the first one, and he doesn't bring them up.
You have Rodan.
He could talk about Godzilla Destroyer, the Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, giant monsters all out attack. That movie is about war guilds.
Yeah.
That...
Because literally in that movie, Godzilla is literally made up of the souls of the dead Japanese that died during World War II. That want vengeance upon Japan for letting them die like that.
Like, that had a message, and that's considered one of the better movies. Like, just tell me you only saw -1 without telling me you saw, just to quote a comment.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
we got a minute and a bit left, so we're almost done.
Yeah.
System, where studios don't see the risk of making something if it can't possibly 10 times its original budget. If Barbie didn't make $1 billion, was it a waste of time? If Oppenheimer didn't almost make $1 billion, was that too a waste of time? And this rubs off how we view movies. If something makes a lot of money, it must be good. If the movie flops, it must be bad. It's a
If the movie make a profit, it's mainly good. But that's a flawed metric because look at all the shitty horror movies they make. Shitty horror movies usually get a lot of money in the box office because horror movies are one of the easiest things to make and one of the cheapest things to make.
Well, I think we can make a clear distinction between the marketing budget of, let's say, something that's well known like Star Wars and why those made lots of money compared to a niche film like Godzilla or the niche series of films from Godzilla, which there are obviously hardcore fans, just very unique. Yeah. So I don't know.
Godzilla still it's pretty much a household name, even if you never saw a Godzilla movie in your life, you at least know the general idea of who Godzilla is because of his long legacy of movies.
And he's talking about risk. Godzilla 2014 was a risk. And he's like, it wasn't, and it got a lot of criticism because people thought it wasn't as much of a blockbuster as it should be because it didn't have enough action, they thought, or not enough Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which is made a lot of money only leads to a higher likelihood of it getting a sequel.
And look at that. It got multiple sequels, with Godzilla King of the Monsters being even better than Godzilla 2014 because it took a lot of the criticism the 2014 movie had and addressed them. And gave it more focus on the monsters.
Yeah, and sometimes there's hidden gem movies that just don't get enough attention and over the years accumulate a fan base. But past the time, it can actually profit from that.
Yeah, like good example of that was The Iron Giant. It flopped horribly at the box office, and it only had such a humongous cult status today because Ted Turner really liked the movie, and he was just like, I am going to constantly rerun this movie on one of my TV channels so more people can see it and enjoy it. It paid off.
Say what you want about Turner, it's like that was actually a pretty good move on his part.
That happened. That happened with Godzilla movies too. Like the Millennium series, like a few of the Millennium films didn't do so well in Japan, but Toho saw how much success they had in America on VHS, so they kept
So there's plenty of factors that would constitute what makes a profitable movie. Not what makes a good movie. There's timing. There's marketing. To say it's argument ad populum is come on, this is silly.
Yeah.
Same as judging a book by its cover. Yes, there's movies that spend way too much money not being creative because they believe they could 10 times their budget by simply existing. But then we get films like Gojira and Godzilla -1, which are real creative works of art that stand for something and matter aside from just money. And they need.
Does every fucking movie have to stand for something? Seriously. Yet we just have fun.
The only movie I could think of that 10 times was the Joker film. I think it was a small budget, but they made like all kinds of money. Like he used that a second time. I was like, what other films made 10 times the returns? I'm trying to think.
And I would say most of it was from like all the attempted bad publicity people were trying to throw on that thing. Oh, this is going to lead to the next mass shooting or whatever, and then nothing happened.
Also, he does not know anything about the other. Just to say out of the whole franchise that the first one and -1 are artistic with something to say, then he has not seen. He did not do the research he claimed he did at the start of this.
Yeah, another good example of those movies that didn't have a lot of budget that made like a shit ton of money. The Blair Witch Project was one of them. That was like the minimalist of minimal budget. And yet it got so much money from the amount of effort they put into it, despite having like nothing to work with.
Yeah, or you have a gem like Kubo and the Two Strings, which is an absolute masterpiece, a magnum opus, and its release was more or less sabotaged in some countries. In Germany, you can't get all the dubs and subtitles on one DVD. It was released separately. Like the Icelandic dub existed, like on the English version, you get an Icelandic dub, but not a German one. That the German one was made later, as if there was a struggle to even release the movie to the public. It's absolutely baffling.
Like how everything works, Godzilla isn't liked because of what it stands for, because what America saw was a cool giant monster that attacked Japan, not an allegory for nuclear war, and what they see now is a Superman figure that could sell toys.
Oh my god, he keeps saying that. Dude. It's not just the West. It's not just America that likes Godzilla fighting other monsters and being a badass. Yeah. The fucking Japanese audience loved that too. The whole world liked that shit.
Hell, to the point, like I think I said earlier that the Japanese love the Western Godzilla movies.
Yeah. Pretty much. It's watching giant monster fight. It's just a simple pleasure center of the brain kind of thing. You see giant monster fight. The neurons activate, and you have good time. Because, we want to see some good action. We want to see things beat the shit out of each other.
It's basically the cockfight in the Colosseum, but with more cool stuff happening.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Mascot to make money. It's why I can't. Godzilla can't.
I'm pretty sure that like every mascot in existence. Literally every mascot in existence is just a tool for making more money.
But when it works in Japan, it works. And it works well. But if there's anything I can hope to get across...
When it works in Japan, it works. So for you, the first time. But...
Research the things you watch. And to give things with passion.
Yeah, research the things you watch, huh? Clearly you did not fucking do that when you made this fucking video.
The one thing I can recommend to the Schubel is to wash your feet.
Yeah.
You might not enjoy it. Some filmmakers actually give a shit about what they make, and use art to have a voice and tell stories without the doom.
What the hell was that movie that he showed on screen with the...
Oh, this pretentious.
What film was that?
It's probably some indie film.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like...
...cloud of getting money from your pocket. -1 is a must.
Oh, it says IndieWire! It's...
And like, the thing with this is, they want to make art, but they also want to make money. And when it comes to Godzilla, this is a franchise that is very old with lots of dedicated fans of multiple generations. And they want and they know if they want to make big money, they gotta appeal to those existing fans while trying to bring new people in.
Like the movies,
keep the core.
yeah.
Identify what the
But-
core is and keep that.
Like
Yeah.
the movies he shit on at the beginning of like, oh yeah, those first Showa films, those were cheap crap. Like those, even some of those movies, like Godzilla vs. Hedorah, they had messages. They had, and he just
Godzilla vs. Hedorah went, take care of the earth and don't pollute.
Godzilla vs. Mothra. Godzilla vs. Mothra was Ishiro Honda, and that had a message too. And it wasn't as dark and grim as the first one, but Godzilla still carried a serious message.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Godzilla vs. Mothra, its message was like showing the evils of like the big corporation trying to make claims on things of nature being all theirs or whatever.
And don't do that, or Godzilla will kill you.
Yeah, don't do that, because you do that and nature will fucking bite back really hard.
Must watch, but I fear, like 1954, it won't be acknowledged or talked about in the masses, especially.
Guess what? It's being very much talked about by the masses. In fact, it got nominated for Best Special Effects at the Oscars.
It's gonna be talked about by too many hipsters.
Yeah, it's gonna be, if anything, this guy proving it's just going to be another one of those instances where a lot of people see, oh, this new thing is popular, I want to jump aboard, and then they try to hijack the hobby from the people that were there from the beginning.
I don't know. It's a 70-year-old property that just had a movie came out last month, and he's like, "Oh, it doesn't work." I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Did it bomb? Like, what happened?
Yeah, no. This is why gatekeeping is good, children.
Oh yeah. Also, the director, the Japanese director, was very surprised by the how well it did in North America.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it made more money in North America than don't quote me on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost done.
I don't know.
In American subject matter and being a foreign film. 2014 Godzilla, you still look good and are shot very well and have the best roar, but you're nothing but a soulless, nothing piece of propaganda that breaks my heart.
Really?
Yeah. Shut the fuck up.
He actually called it propaganda.
Yep. I am just glad that by the end of the video he was out of juice and stopped with the epileptic editing.
Yeah. That's a very good observation.
I now got a Patreon, by the way, where you can see how I edited this video in the future.
We don't need the
credits.
Oh, did you see that in the beginning, all this bullshit?
Yeah.
You could. It was visually noticeable in his editing crap. Wow.
I was holding myself back if he was gonna say if he actually called it. He actually called 2014 prop. I can't believe that.
He's a brick in your face.
Yeah. I think he wanted to. I think the beginning of that video was edited like that specifically to disorient the audience, so that his bullshit claims later wouldn't seem so far-fetched.
So we apparently had a Godzilla animated series. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the animated series that is the follow-up to the 1998 movie, which actually was really good compared to the shit movie that...
Yeah, it was fun to watch. It even had interesting aliens.
Yeah. Hold on, I gotta do something here because Keyblade is not in Smud server. So...
what kaiju do you want to see in the legendary films?
It's Gigan.
Well, let me just...
I hope they don't fuck Gigan.
You can... Wait, you can what?
I can just look at it through the stream.
Does anyone have a kaiju that they want to see in any of these movies?
I want to see Biolante and Gigan. That's what I want to see.
Okay.
Honestly, I would love to see all of these.
Ultraman?
I would love... Jaguar. Put Jet Jaguar.
I'd love to see Manda, Kamakura, Megalon, King Tidar, Kamunga, Hedorah, Baragon, Anguirus, Titanosaurus. I would love to see them all.
Just hit all control.
I don't have a preference. This dude's video so far, yeah, it's kind of weird. Ooh, that's too tiny. watches this hyper edited video. Did you make this video on a sugar rush? I don't know. He must have like dissected a second into like 8 sections and then like stretched them out so they felt real. The campy series with dodgy animation and a retro charm. King Kong and Godzilla. Oh, they had animated versions. Cool. The darker, more popular series that focuses more on action. We had another Godzilla and another Kong. The Netflix animation that people don't talk about. Oh, Kong, King of the Apes.
Yeah, we don't. We don't.
That is a thing?
Yeah, I didn't know about that. Didn't know about any of this.
Kong King of the Apes, I think, with that video game that came out last year.
All right. Godzilla sucks because he's fighting other monsters. Me. Hearsay.
Yeah, that's me.
Heresy.
Yep.
That is me.
Girls, after winning a game, whatever. What makes that is that I had fun. Whatever matters that I had fun. Okay.
Boyd, I am the Alpha. You bow to me.
Which movie is that?
King of the Monsters.
Okay.
It pretty much the ending shot of it.
Okay.
Godzilla's tail is very strong. So the meme was so funny that Godzilla began to laugh. Oh, okay.
Wait.
If you watch Godzilla backwards, it's about a benevolent lizard that helps rebuild a city and then moonwalks into the sea.
Kinda.
Okay. Gorgo. Oh, Technicolor. Ooh.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I think that's on Tubi TV actually. Yeah,
Paper
I saw that
Fins.
on...
So this is the YouTuber Road to Gojira. Yeah. So he has a whole history on the creation of all these movies. Maybe not all of them, but yeah. Good stuff. America's Godzilla. Project Nemesis, Jeremy Robinson. Oh, he made a series of books.
Project Nemesis. Wow. Look at that thing.
Is this actually good or?
Look at it. What the fuck?
Apparently Americans like writing about Godzilla. Who knows? The only human characters in Godzilla worth a damn changed my mind. Dude, this is like, I have no idea.
It's missing a few, I would say. But that guy with the sword is great.
The Project Nemesis one looks like a fucking Scarecrow fear toxin version of Godzilla.
Don't look at the crotch.
Oh.
Oh no, it's got a face.
The way for me to not do it is to not say it.
Here's a kaiju. What is this?
Where are you?
Yeah, you get a better understanding of Godzilla from James Rolfe's old Godzilla-thon.
I wanted to say that. I didn't know where to say it.
Oh, okay.
Ultraman.
Even when he gets things wrong, he still gets a lot of info right.
Ultraman should be in the Monsterverse since he and Godzilla have the same creator. Oh, I don't know about that.
Might as well.
Well, they did actually use one of the old Godzilla suits in Ultraman, just modified.
Hell, give Legendary Pictures an Ultraman suit. Fuck it.
All right, so here's Rotom likes making a lot of memes. So here's a question he asks us, or an opinion he wants to share. If you ask me, the Godzilla films need to continually use Godzilla as an allegory for man's misuse of science and nature fighting back and holding the franchise back, when Godzilla has shown he can work as just simply a giant monster.
Yep.
Well, it's how you contextualize why Godzilla is doing what he's doing, since he doesn't really communicate directly. So something bad happens, he comes out of nowhere and then tries to correct the problem. That's the general idea.
Yep.
So if you just want a giant monster rampaging around, I mean, that's different. That
I have like 10 different movies for that.
Yeah, that becomes what are those films? It's just all natural disaster films. They just, a hurricane, earthquakes,
I don't see a problem with it doing either.
No, I think Toho did a monster film with a giant jellyfish that got split into multiple ones, and then they kill it with wasp poison, I think.
Yes. it's like every era of Godzilla has like characterized him differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's up to the director and the writer to do what they like. That's fine.
Yeah.
What is this? Animated GIF of Godzilla body slamming something? I don't know what's going on. Americans like to nuke Godzilla like a giant gun. Why does it remind me of Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, the GIF where Godzilla's tail whipping another monster. That's actually the Japanese Godzilla taking out the 1998 Godzilla renamed to Dilla.
Because that's a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Godzilla King of the Monsters comic book with the Avengers. It looks like
a Marvel crossover.
Yeah, because Marvel had the comic right back then.
At the time, yeah.
Godzilla is not Superman. Ultraman is Superman. Well, not exactly.
Basically, it's closer. Ultraman's closer to being Superman than Godzilla.
Oh yeah, but there's so many of them. I don't think it's 1-to-1.
Ultraman is 10
What matters is that Ultraman is closer than Godzilla. That's the whole point there.
My son's name is Manila. For those who don't know,
Minion.
It's Minila.
Minila.
Godzilla, Minila. It's like mini me.
Just a picture of Godzilla being a good dad.
They
Godzilla Jr. is better.
The way they pronounce it's kind of more like Minya.
That's okay, but I just wanted to emphasize the pun.
Yeah.
I'd still rather watch Grisou, the dragon who wants to be a firefighter.
Save Mothra. Mothra, why did you say that name? Oh, God.
Where you at? What?
Dan is going through these. Mothra is the Jean Grey of Godzilla. They're both the main female of the group, who the writers kill off when the story hasn't had a sad moment in a while.
Oh, God.
That's a weird way of putting it. There's Godzilla's amazing
drop kick.
Yeah, I don't know what physics.
It's a drop kick.
Yep.
Who are you? I'm you, but better. What?
No. Gamera.
That Gamera.
What?
Phil chose taking the big G and his spike-backed buddy. Okay.
Godzilla on the left, Gamera on the right.
No, it's Anguirus.
That's Anguirus.
Anguirus, sorry.
Godzilla versus Pacific Rim?
I like this
I'm
one.
looking for the robot. I can't find it.
No, it's not about the robot.
floating-
He's fighting a kaiju from Pacific Rim.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the kaiju.
Like, basically spotting a fly.
This is basically the King Ghidorah one, but split between different ones.
Yeah, except instead of being the three heads of King Ghidorah,
It's Gamera, Godzilla, and King Kong.
yeah, the left head, the fan base has affectionately, the left head of King Ghidorah, everyone's affectionately named Kevin.
This is a Canadian thing. I don't know all the bad B films of Canada. I've never seen them, so I don't know.
The Monsterverse?
Yeti giant of the 20th century. Who knows? That's better.
He
This
has
is-
shorts.
Yeah.
I've never seen a Gamera film.
Morality chart.
I don't know about any of this.
Okay.
Which one are you on? Hold on.
He's on the alignment chart. The lawful good is it's Hanna-Barbera. Neutral good is Godzilla versus Megalon. Chaotic good is the animated in Godzilla, the
cartoon
animated one. Yeah.
Yep.
Lawful neutral in Godzilla King of the Monsters 2019. True neutral is Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Monster Zero, aka Invasion of the Astro Monster.
The damn victory dance.
Yeah. Chaotic
Wait, is
neutral is the Heisei Godzilla. Lawful evil, I think that
Godzilla
might be
Earth.
Yeah, like Godzilla Earth.
That is
Like
the
anime.
ugliest Godzilla.
Yeah.
He's a giant plant. He's a giant tree kaiju. It's so stupid.
Yeah. neutral evil in Godzilla in the Godzilla versus Megaguirus.
Millennium, just Millennium.
Yeah,
Millennium?
Well,
Okay.
well, kind of like each Millennium one that had slight subtle differences. Like
They kept changing the suit a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah, you can mainly notice it with like the color of the spine.
Oh my god.
In later movies.
That is a gigantic timeline of all the movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the next one. You didn't say what Chaotic Evil was.
Chaotic Evil is
GMK.
GMK, yeah. Which
GMK,
that position can kind of be replaced now by -1.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there is that many Godzilla stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And then in response,
the G1 timeline for Transformers.
Yep. Look at that in your own time.
Where the hell do I
real chart?
Where do I start on this chart?
What is this? What? I didn't even.
What?
I didn't see the other timeline.
The Transformers G1 roadmap.
Where do you start on this?
You don't. There are some things that are just self-contained completely. They have no connection to anything else.
Which is why they're displayed as such. That's why they're displayed as such in the chart.
Yeah, but that's not a very good sorting then.
Oh, so apparently the comments on the video are really bad.
Yes, they're very.
0% research, 100% yapping.
It's like you are massively jumping here.
Dude just turned a whole fan base against him.
Americans hate Tingle. What is that?
It's a TV tropes thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tingle from Zelda.
It's pretty much to describe the phenomenon of people of one country really hate a specific thing from other thing, mainly in the terms of characters. It's named after the fact that Americans really don't like Tingle, specifically because of the Wind Waker iteration of Tingle.
Okay.
He's always creepy.
Okay, so
that's his point.
We like Persona series, but we don't like Shin Megami Tensei because it's hard. I don't know about that.
Where is that one?
Well, no.
Where the hell are you?
I mean, the definition of Americans hate Tingle, and I'm like, okay, fine.
Oh.
Just how far did you go?
No, we're still on the.
Oh my god.
Still on the American hate Tingle.
Mothra. Okay, what?
Oh, these.
Damn boy, he's sick.
I'm not sure what's going on here, but
cosplay?
Yeah.
The law alignment from S. Why are we talking about Shin Megami Tensei? What is?
Anyway,
let's keep on going. Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah, Kevin.
Yeah,
Kevin, like the derpy head from the King Ghidorah meme.
Yeah, it's the Shrek meme. Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, King Ghidorah.
I love this.
Yeah, that scene from Shrek 2. Yeah,
this is the best. Yeah. Everyone's freaking out that
the Barbie meme.
That Godzilla collapsed, and they look. It's Kirby.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And then here's the drop kick again.
Yeah, that's.
Megalon ain't ever living this shit down.
And that's Ultraman.
No,
that's Jet Jaguar.
Jet Jaguar.
Well, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
It's an Ultraman.
Yeah, Ultraman was huge at the time the movie was in production, and so they did a contest of like, "Hey kids, design a monster, we can do it." And so some kid put in just an Ultraman ripoff, and Toho took it.
Oh, and it's called Jet Jaguar.
Yeah. Well, no, the kid that submitted the design named it something else, and then Toho just like, nah, we'll call it Jet Jaguar.
Okay.
Why is Gamera a fat? Well, I mean, yeah.
Violent.
I like Mechagodzilla as a bike.
One episode of Sonic X straight up steals Mugiera and Mothra and hardly changes their appearances.
Mogira?
Mogira.
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 Yeah, it's just straight up. It's straight up Mogira and Mothra.
Yeah. I think the Mogira one went from season 3 with the Meteoric, but the Mothra one went definitely.
And then the other one of the Kirby Right Back at Ya. That's also a Mothra homage.
Yeah, these memes are going too far.
I don't know what the hell is going on.
Well, these next few aren't even memes at this point.
Oh my god.
Ginga, you're gonna have to send me some of these memes so I can pull
the chonk chart. What's the chonk chart? 20 is 16 to 25% body fat, all the way up to 70, which is 65% body fat. I don't.
Oh lord.
The original use of this meme was for cat.
Oh yeah.
All right. Who you calling Thunder Thighs? Oh my god.
Who you calling Pinhead?
Tiny, but I can read it.
All right, so that's Tinkle, like I imagine from
Tinkle.
Okay.
From Majora's Mask.
Right. All right. Well, that was different.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Little slave driver.
Oh.
I refuse to buy maps in Majora's Mask because Tingle creeped me out.
Anyway, that was a strange video. That was like a epileptic seizure the first 10 minutes, and then he just chilled out like marketing.
Then you let an AI write a script.
Yeah, something about propaganda, and it just doesn't sell well when it does. And you're like, what the hell are you talking about? What a weird video. Yeah, I don't know what that guy was trying to express.
America and Godzilla in America doesn't work because it's military propaganda or some shit.
I don't know. Literally watching the beginning of the video, it literally felt like that part of the intro of Rocko's Modern Life where they shoved the big book of education into his brain, and then when head closed, it like a bunch of goop comes out that funky.
Oh yeah, don't forget Godzilla. He said verbatim, Godzilla is so popular that most people don't even know it's from Japan.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
That's my point about Power Rangers, where it's a similar thing.
Well, tomorrow is the Super Bowl, guys. So I don't know if you guys have family events or friends events or you're going out. Probably one of us Smudcast as a result of that because everyone's gonna be busy.
Yeah.
So
everyone's gonna be busy. I'm gonna be looking out for any trailer for. Like more for the new Knuckles show or the Sonic the Hedgehog 3
and
movie.
Hopefully they actually fulfill their promise of having Sweet Victory in there this time.
Yeah, if we get Schmeckledorf again.
Yeah, because the first time when was the first time? 2018, 2019, around there.
So
it was like literally the next Super Bowl after Steven Hillenburg died.
Yeah. Long story short, it's like right after the creator of SpongeBob died, they promised that specific song, and then they cucked us. And now, now they're saying that they're gonna feature it for real this time, and we're just waiting to see what they do. That's it.
Yeah, it was the 2019 Super Bowl because he died in November 20.
All right. Well, you guys enjoy watching the Super Bowl, or for whatever reason, whether it's the advertising or the mid show or whatever. Have a good one.
Have a good one,
I'm
guys.
gonna enjoy some hot dogs tomorrow or something.
Yes.
All right.
I didn't know. Is it? Wait, that's American Super Bowl. Oh.
Yeah.
I hope so. I don't know what you would mean.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
There is no upper world championship. It's only the Americans playing in the world championship.
Yeah. So anyway, have a great one.
Everybody.
Talk to you soon. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.